morning.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Juice in the Morning. This episode's a little bit different. We're going to be doing a two-parter, hopefully, if there's only one part. Sorry, Shane.
Get your new co-host, AP from Smugcast.
Yes, sitting to my left, and the voice you hear is AP from the Smugcast. How are you doing today, man?
I am fantastic.
Thank you for coming and helping us get the board in order.
I hope so.
I mean,
we'll find out after this is over. We check it.
We'll see when it's over. And also, you know, BJ went at me pretty hard for not going up and doing the stand-up. So basically, I'm the kind of person that I'm going to take the challenge, and now I need to step my game up and actually do it.
You're going to have to.
Yeah, now I have to.
I seen it all on Twitter, and I was like, gonna have to lay in the juice a little bit.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like, I know that you can't ever be ready for that, but it was one of those things that, like, I kept procrastinating. Like, literally, I would get home from work, I would be eating dinner, drinking a beer or something, and I'd be like, man, I even set an alarm on my phone, practice for stand-up. Didn't do it. Like, I'd ignore.
You know, I don't know how much you can practice for it, you know what I mean? Because you don't, I mean, you could stand here all day long and tell jokes, but until you've got a crowd in front of you and you can kind of, you know, you can always feel the energy in somewhere, you know, anywhere you're at, and you feel that energy, you're never gonna, your cadence could be totally different for a joke.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Depending on the crowd, I would think.
And I have a couple of ideas and like premises and stuff, and I did send them to a couple of people, but you know, the main thing that I like, the biggest opener, I guess, is what I would want to talk about, is like being really average at stuff. So like but I'm really good at getting like I peak early. So like, you know, for example, like, you know, I peaked early.
So you come before she finishes, is what you're saying.
Usually, but it's a great time for both of us up until that point. But no, like for example, like high school, like, you know, I got really average at sex really fast. So I was like a king in high school. and then when I got into college, it went kind of like on a
you went downhill.
Downhill, yeah.
You done hit your climax.
and I think that's one of the things that I want to like kind of use as like a whole 5 minutes, is build this whole thing around me being average at stuff, because I feel like I'm pretty proud of it, because like I can get good at stuff pretty quick.
You are the only person I know that is proud of being average.
but I can get really decent at something really fast, so I'm like outpacing most. But then people, when they decide to put the time in and the effort in, they usually surpass me, and that's the problem, because then I'll get bored about something and move on to something else.
Well, yeah, usually people who try more and practice more usually get better at what they're doing.
It's true. But I mean, it goes like back to like video games. Like you know, I used to get really good at Madden, and then I'd kick all my friends' asses, and then they would play a lot. So maybe I'm just the catalyst to making other people better at what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what I would keep telling yourself. Exactly. That's exactly it.
But yeah, we have like, I mean, there's so much going on in the world today. Usually my notes in my phone are pretty stacked, but this is bigger than it's ever been. For example, 50 Cent meeting with the Bellator. So the Bellator MMA. So
I thought they were.
So basically,
for some reason I was thinking that they were selling.
Well, they were talking about because 50 Cent. I think it's Curtis Jackson.
Yeah.
He had a boxing promotion like company, and I think it went under bankrupt or whatever eventually.
But he's a rapper.
But he's really into boxing and promotion. And there was a picture that was posted on his Instagram of him meeting with the owner of Bellator MMA. So people went nuts with this and started posting stuff like, "Oh, 50's going to be fighting." So apparently the rumor right now is 50's going to be fighting Rampage Jackson.
No way. There's no fucking way. He doesn't know how to fight. He can fucking shoot you, but that's about it. He's a fucking thug.
I don't know. He's an athlete, though. I mean, that's all they talked about when he was coming up.
I mean, I guess. I mean, he's got muscles. I mean, I guess there's a lot that qualifies as an athlete.
Right.
I mean, they consider NASCAR drivers athletes.
There was a NASCAR driver just recently on a podcast.
Tony Stewart was a fucking NASCAR driver. Yeah, he is not an athlete.
You don't think he runs a 4.4?
Oh, fuck no. He'd be lucky if he runs it under 10.
But no, like, and I think that it's interesting because I think everybody's trying to get into the sports world like this and make money off of it, kind of like the Conor McGregor and Mayweather fight.
Yeah.
So there's another thing that was going on with Mickelson wants to challenge Tiger, I think, to 9 holes. But it's like him against Tiger, 9 holes. That's it. And then like see who wins from that.
For like how much?
I don't know, but it's like it's one of those
just for pride, because that's fucking gay.
It's got to be, it's got to be something like some sort of winnings or whatever. But I think it would be cool. It's a cool idea to do like a 1-on-1 like 9 holes or something like that. I think golf needs something because golf is not entertaining to watch.
Oh no, but there are people who fucking sit down and watch every stroke of that shit.
That's right. And Tiger Woods is washed up, but he was in the Masters. It had like the highest ratings it had in 10 years.
Well, yeah.
Because everybody loves Tiger Woods.
Yeah. But hell, didn't he finish like high 20s or something like that? Or way the fuck down there?
I don't think he even, he may not have even, I don't know.
He played all 4 days. He did play all 4 days.
He did play all 4. But yeah, but then, like I said, that was like the rumor mill. As soon as 50 is meeting with this guy, the rumor mill's going. And my thought is maybe he's just like trying to get in the promotion side of things. But everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon that he's going to be fighting.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I saw the movie. I mean,
so if it was to happen, Curtis Jackson against Rampage Jackson, do you think it goes past 1 round?
No, they come out and they slap gloves and Rampage just slaps him and he fucking knocks him out.
But Rampage he's washed up now, isn't he?
It doesn't matter. He still knows how to fight. He knows how to hit.
That's true. So I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb and say I think 50 will make it to the 2nd round.
Oh shit!
Just to make it a more exciting sporting event, I guess.
This is going to be a Conor McGregor Aldo. Was it Aldo that he knocked out in like 30 seconds? Who was it? I can't remember.
I have no idea.
It's going to be one of those.
Shane, if he was here, would be able to tell you.
I know. Well, but he's no longer the co-host.
Right.
I am.
You're being replaced, Shane. I apologize.
I am co-hosting 2 podcasts now. I am for hire.
There's more to today though. There's a lot of stuff that I've got in this phone. So there's this one right here, and it's a video from Barstool Heartland. It's a eagle.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
He's killing a goose,
dude. My wife.
He's doing the Lord's work right now.
Yeah, came in the other night, and our neighborhood is fucking flooded with these fuckers.
They're the worst.
And I don't want to hit them. They're still a bird, still an animal. I don't want to kill it. And I have no problem with killing animals. Let's put that out there. I just don't do it. I don't have that kind of fucking time.
You don't do it unless you have a license to kill, right?
Yeah. And she comes in and she's like, somebody hit 2 of those geese. And I was all excited. I was like, no shit. She was like, well, that's so mean. I was like, they're a fucking nuisance.
Yeah.
I was like, get rid of them motherfuckers. Where I work, we have a big lake. And, I work at a sand and gravel operation. Well, geese, to help with digestion, it's why you see them picking at grass.
Oh, yeah.
They need that grit to help digest their food.
Break stuff up.
One winter, our lake froze, and I bet you there was 3,000 geese sitting on that fucker. I'm not even kidding you, man. I just want to start spraying fucking bullets everywhere.
Speaking of the geese, there was in high school, I had a buddy that he army crawled up to the pond at our house and had a 22, and he lit one up, and then he brought it. Like, I didn't know this was going on. We were having a party at our house, and he's just carrying the goose by its legs, and he brings it and slaps it down on our table outside, and is like, "We're gonna eat this tonight."
Oh hell no! I don't think you're supposed to eat goose.
So he proceeded to pick all the feathers off, and he butchered it, and then we ate that. For,
are you fucking kidding me?
Dinner. Yeah, not
what
kidding.
What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
It was. We were out in the country.
Lucky you didn't get fucking sick from something.
It was a little gamey, a little bit.
Yeah, it's a fucking wild animal. Most of them are.
But that's also what's funny is there was a news story about a guy in Florida got arrested for practicing karate and kicking swans in the head.
Oh, yeah. Who the fuck kicks a swan? Those are beautiful creatures.
Well, we had one out here just in the pond behind our house trying to drown a duck. Like, it was like holding a duck under the water.
Fuck, he gets hungry too.
I don't think he's gonna eat the duck though.
That it's crazy that the only time I've ever seen like a fucking swan in person is at the golf course over there in town in Greenwood. What's
Is it
called?
Val Vista?
Yeah. You know, they have that pond, and there's always those two in there. Well, that's the only place I've ever seen them. And I was at work one day, and I was looking out in our fucking big lake, and there's one out there. And I was like, where the fuck does this thing come from? Like, I've never seen
And there's
a swan.
so few of them, too.
Exactly. I've never seen a fucking swan.
Like, where are they reproducing at?
Exactly. I have no idea.
Not here in Indiana. I mean, and because we're overrun by the geese. Like, it's hilarious because Chris Spangle, we were just on his podcast, We Are Libertarians, and he was just talking about how he's had huge fights with these things around his apartment complex, trying to bite him.
I saw that.
Hissing at him. It's like, I mean, I think it's insane. Like, why don't we have some sort of rule where each person's okay to bag like 10 of them or something?
Yeah.
I think they'd be worried about cleanup.
Somebody was saying somewhere, like, you can kill like 5 a day. I want to say, I don't remember what that was on.
That's crazy, though. I'd be okay with that.
They're so overran that they're like, we got to get rid of these fuckers.
Well, they're like
shooting
rats.
them. Oh, absolutely.
There's like hundreds of them. But no, Florida man arrested for practicing karate by kicking swans in the head. A Florida man interested in karate is alleged to have found an elusive and illegal target for his kicks. Bird faces.
Did this allow him to like go up in belts?
I don't know. It should have.
Is this like part of it?
It's definitely his white belt going after the
swan. You talk about breaking wood, man. It's pretty easy to break a swan's head open.
Rocco Joseph Mantello is arrested for practicing karate by kicking swans in the head at a park in downtown Orlando. Further details of his arrest, which were first published by the Bloody Elbow, are wild as shit. So this is clearly a very articulate news organization that's reporting on this.
You know what birds freak me out?
Which ones?
Flamingos.
Why?
Their fucking legs.
Well, they're and the fact that
I don't get it.
They like bend backwards.
Yeah, they bend backwards, and they're like the fucking size of my pinky. It's like how in the fuck have you not broke those bitches yet?
I recently saw another weird viral video on Facebook of a guy with his legs he was deformed and his legs were backwards like a flamingo. And there's like a weird song like and he's like doing flips and stuff.
Did he run backwards?
No, like he was doing he was doing front somersaults, but like landing like and rolling up onto his legs. It was like one of the most fucked up things I think I've ever seen.
His legs bend backwards like a fucking
absolutely.
flamingo.
I wish I gotta find that.
That's so fucked up.
I gotta find it. It was called Tink Tink Exists or something like that.
How fucked up do your parents have to be to have a kid that his fucking legs are backwards?
He was from Australia, I think.
Well, that explains it. They're all fucking weird. You know, I said that same thing last night on our podcast. Fucking Australians.
Well, it is the place where...
I'm kidding. I love you, Australia.
Anything can kill you at any time. There's no way I'm going to find this because I scrolled across it on Facebook and I couldn't imagine.
I was looking at Facebook yesterday. You know, of course, we got the volcano in Hawaii that's fucking spewing shit everywhere.
Oh, here it is.
The thing I read yesterday said that in the next few weeks it could blow 10-ton rocks out of that motherfucker a half mile in the air.
Holy shit!
That's 20,000 fucking pounds.
And
rock.
the people like have they? I'm assuming have escaped from there or
they.
What is the word that I'm thinking of?
Evacuated.
Jesus.
They evacuated people like days before because they knew it was going to blow.
Well, and what's crazy is I think the rocks there are filming a movie or something. So,
is he?
Like, but not in that island. It's got to be close.
That's on the big island where it's blowing up.
Jesus,
it's just making the island.
But
bigger.
that's just like the one under the what is it? The
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. Yeah. That could
if it blows
ruin all of us, right?
No. If it blows, we're good here.
You think so?
We're on the very edge of it.
So the fallout or
California is gonna be fucking gone, which it should be anyway. Fucking liberal asses.
Yeah, and they aren't they like they're on like a fault line, so they are going to eventually fall off anyways.
Yeah, hopefully sooner than later. Yeah.
No, here's the video though.
What the? Oh, like his entire body's backwards.
Yeah.
No way. That's not real.
Yes, it is. It's got to be real. I mean, I couldn't see how they would fake it.
Because
his legs are literally backwards like a flamingo. And he's rolling around on them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That just hurts my knees to even watch it.
So basically, if you're looking, if you want to look this video up, it's
you got to see this
guy dancing with inverted kneecaps. Just guy dancing with inverted kneecaps. You'll be good to go, man. It's fucked up that people exist like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've said it for a long time that especially now that I have kids. And you see like these kids that are, like fucking 2 and 3 years old that have like leukemia and shit.
Right.
It's like, how is that fucking possible? Right. You know what I mean? It's like, how in our fucking evolutionary time have we come to a place where fucking 2-year-olds get cancer? You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck are we doing to ourselves, or what are we eating? What are we drinking? What's in the water?
Yeah, and I think we're to the point where we do want to know that though, because it's happening so infrequently.
I mean, it's one thing if you're 50 years old and you've smoked and fucking drank and did drugs your entire life, and all of a sudden you got fucking cancer. Like that's one thing, but a fucking 2-year-old or whatever, a kid getting cancer it fucking blows my mind.
And the opposite of that is the people that make it to like 112 and have smoked for the last 60 years.
Fucking somebody who's, drank a fucking 12-pack every night for their life and lives to hit 100, and they're like, what would you have done different? And it's like, I'd have drank more beer.
and it always goes back to my, Shane calls it bro science, but I feel like those people are very similar to me, where if you just act like stuff doesn't bother you, it may not affect you as much. Because like right now, like my whole life, if I've ever felt sick or something like that, drink a lot of water, take some vitamins. Yeah, it'll eventually pass. Obviously, cancer and stuff's not going to pass. But
no, but I mean, a lot of it. I mean, when you get sick, you also get mentally sick, and somebody who is always negative, who is always, like depressed, I don't want to say like actual clinical depression, but, thinks they're depressed and thinks like all that. Yeah, you're going to be sick. Like your mind,
Yeah.
If you're
looking to be sick, you're going to be sick.
You're going to be sick. I mean, it's fucking it's a hypochondriac. They always think they're sick. Well, then they fucking look like shit because they think that they always feel like shit when they're not.
See, like I'm in that moment where like I feel like there are some things that are like starting to bother me. Like I'm having heartburn more than I've ever had it before, and I know I'm only 30, but if it gets worse than this, I'm going to be real pissed because things have been pretty easy for me for most of my life.
Dude, I mean, me too. I mean, I get the occasional bug, cold, shit like that. I've done a lot of drugs. I've drank a lot. I chew. I've smoked. But for the most part, I've been extremely healthy. Yeah. Minus the occasional bug or cold. I had the flu once. Yeah. That was last year, I think. That was a fucking nightmare. I don't recommend getting that.
Definitely not the one that came around this year.
No, definitely don't get that one. My kids had it. But I've been remotely healthy. I've never had to deal with heartburn. My wife, on the other hand, 2 months ago, I had to call fucking 911 and send her to the fucking hospital because she thought she was having a heart attack.
It gives you chest pains, doesn't it?
She thought she was having a heart attack, got a piece of food stuck.
Oh, shit.
And apparently this has happened a lot. And I've known her since I was 19, so that is approximately 16 to 17, almost 17 years.
Yeah.
I've never known this was a problem. She comes up holding her chest saying, my chest hurts, I can't breathe, this other shit. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you're having a fucking heart attack. Meanwhile, I'm speeding my nuts off on fucking Adderall because I'm studying. And so then that goes into fucking hyperdrive. I don't recommend that either. But turns out she's had fucking heartburn for a long time and had never did anything to it. And just recently it had got worse because she got an ulcer in her stomach.
I'm worried that's what she's fighting with me.
That's what she's fighting.
Well, what I think is when I heard you tell that story on your guys' podcast, the first thing I thought was, she's a badass, because like if she's got that kind of pain, a lot of people won't deal with that. Like that's where I've thought about myself. Like I'll have something that hurts, or I'll be like not feeling great, but I kind of always try to power through it and just like act like nothing's wrong. And there's a lot of people that can't do that. And especially females. And I'm not like trying to be a misogynist or whatever and say that people are weaker if they're female than men, but a lot of the times men are like considered the people that try to act like things aren't wrong. But,
I mean, but women
I feel like women are super tough,
can handle pain a lot better than our pussies can. But pussy ass can.
But I don't think very many would not. You would not know that they had heartburn or something like that, because that's a very it's painful. You feel like you're having a heart attack.
And I've only had it like a couple times. Usually I eat something,
for you to not know that she's dealt with this for a long time,
didn't know
means that
but see,
I don't
think I don't think that she actually had like crazy heartburn. I think because a couple months leading up to it, like she'd text me and she was like, I have this weird pain, and it kind of happened like 3 or 4 times over like maybe 3 months. Didn't think much about it. I mean, I get fucking pains. We're getting old.
Yeah.
Old, but we're getting old. And so then like, I think she must have, something that she was taking caused the ulcer, and then that just sped everything
exacerbated
up.
it.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of all came to a head right then that day, because before then I didn't know there was a problem. From that day since, it's like she lives off of egg whites, green beans, and turkey. I've
been watching what I eat a lot more, but I just can't. I can't put down like the hot wings and stuff like that. Like, if I have the opportunity, I'm going to eat them, and then I just know that it's going to happen, and I'm like, I'm just going to deal with it. Fuck it. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going back to the women in her dealing with that pain. I've watched her birth 2 fucking kids.
Yeah.
And to me,
that's
it
what I'm
like
saying.
It hurt.
Yeah, she's got to be a badass if you didn't know that she's ever had that feeling before.
I've never heard her complain about shit hurting because she ran marathons here a couple years ago, and her IT band fucked up, and that's the only time in my entire life that I've known her that she complained about something hurting.
What's the IT band?
It's the band that runs from like your hip down to your knee.
Ooh.
There's a band. It's like a big long muscle right there. And a lot of runners get it. It just like it gets like knots in it and shit. And she ended up going to a physical therapist for it, and he like rolled it out almost.
Yeah.
But it was like a thing where like I think you like grind in on it, and you could tell down her leg where those knots were, because there was fucking bruises, circle bruises all the way down her leg where he had to try to grind those dudes out.
I've used like foam rollers and stuff before, and I feel like I don't really ever notice a difference.
See, I tried to do it. She was doing that too, and she really couldn't. Didn't really tell the difference. So she had me do it, and of course, I'm 200 pounds. Well, less than 200 pounds, but I'm 200 pounds and putting force down on it, and that was the only time she was actually able to
get the actual release or whatever of the.
Yep.
So basically, on the flip side of what we were talking about with the guy being like messed up with the backwards legs and kids with cancer and stuff. The very opposite that I just literally thought of this isn't in the notes or anything. Giant humans, like dudes that are like huge.
What about
women,
what
men?
About that chick? Like the tallest woman in the world?
Yeah.
She's she's the tallest model maybe?
Yeah.
I want to say she's like 6'8", and she's fucking gorgeous.
Well, it's like, and then those guys that like do the strongman competitions, I'm like, how did a human get to the point where, like, because I just saw on this video they were like trying to like sell these mouth guards or something that apparently people use to lift weights because somehow that helps. I'm not sure. That aside, this guy was a giant human, and he was doing like 150-pound dumbbell like over his head with one arm.
God.
And I was like, oh my God, like how do you exist? And like he gave a high five to one of the hosts, and like her hand was like a quarter of the size of his hand. I'm like, how do you exist in the world?
I mean, that's it. Like, how do people like Shaq exist?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, every year it's like somebody's, well, look at this high schooler that's fucking 6'10".
Well, there's already
a
high school. I can't remember what his name is, but there's a guy that's like the same, like, I want to say he's like on the trajectory to be just as big, if not bigger than LeBron James was in high school. And he's like dunking on people, and like everybody around him looks like a little kid, and he looks like a man out there.
I mean, you just have, for one, we're evolving. I mean, we're adapting to every situation, and how we're gaining the height, I don't know. But as far as like getting bigger, like people are thicker. They're more broad shouldered. In the instances where people are 6'10", 7 foot, and their moms 5'9" and their dad's 6'5", it's like, well, how in the fuck does that happen?
Well, I mean, I've told people this before. I don't know if we've talked about it on either your podcast or our podcast, but I'm the shortest man in our family, and I'm 6'2".
Oh, damn.
My cousin that's been in here that did the D&D podcast.
Oh, yeah.
He's 7'2".
No shit.
Yeah, my grandpa is like 6'6".
Well, you got fucked.
I know. Like, I'm the shortest one out of everybody.
See,
what the hell's going on here?
I always said if I could have been 6'6", I probably at least would have played college ball.
Oh, yeah.
Because I could, going back to the glory days.
Right.
I could dunk a basketball when I was 13.
Yeah.
10-foot goal. I could always jump. I don't know why, but I'm only 6 foot.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I'd have been 6'6", and with the athletic ability that I had, I definitely,
Well, and it's crazy because it comes from where, like, how you're wired too, because a lot of people say it's from, they have the argument of nature versus nurture and stuff like that. But my cousin that's 7'2", he was not wired to play basketball. He's not wired to be a person that is going to have that competitive spirit in athletics. Like, he has a competitive spirit in other things, but like when it comes to basketball, he didn't want to play basketball. He was getting like full ride scholarship offers, and he didn't even play basketball his last 2 years of high school.
Shit.
And Kentucky, like big Division I schools were like, come here, we'll teach you to play basketball.
Yeah.
He didn't want to play basketball, which I respect, but at the same time, I would have taken full advantage of that.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, man! College education for free.
And I mean, just the being that height, like you could sit on an NBA team and be in there for practice.
I don't know what the minimum is, but I think it's like $2 million, isn't it, for an NBA contract?
I mean, it's one of those things. It's just weird. It's weird that I'm like, I feel like I'm the shortest one, so I feel like I've had to work the hardest out of everybody. But then that changes your whole outlook on life in general.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think competitiveness is necessarily nurture. I think it is more. I don't know.
Hardwired.
Yeah, I think it's more hardwired. I mean, because like I'm very competitive. My wife is very competitive, even though she doesn't really play anything. But she always. She's a leader. She wants to win. She wants to be great at what she does.
My wife's the exact same way. She acts like she doesn't care, but then when we're playing a game, she like loses it if she's not doing well.
Yeah.
Euchre, I mean, that's a big Midwest thing.
Oh yeah.
My wife loses her mind if she's not doing well at it. But she like gets quiet, and I'm like, "What's going on?" Well, I'm just pitching this whole time.
My oldest, which is 6, about to be 7, not competitive at all. Wants to be. I think she wants to be good, but like she doesn't really have that fight in her to be competitive. But my 4-year-old, like, don't fucking challenge her to shit because it's going to end up bad.
Yeah.
Because if she's not winning, she's either going to be crying or screaming or hitting. But she's got that, and I didn't teach her that. I mean, this year or this month was the first month she's even played anything.
Yeah. What's she playing?
Softball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a sport that I played some rec league softball, and I've never been into baseball or anything like that. I've just not been good at it.
Yeah.
Like I never could hit. Like I could run, catch, I could throw, couldn't hit.
I could never. My coach, I actually saw my assistant high school coach. It's been probably 5 or 6 years ago now, and we were busting each other's balls, and he's like, you know what? He's like, you may not have been able to hit very good. He goes, but if you got a hold of it, it usually went a long fucking way. And I said, you know what, though? I said, the older I've got, and, I played some slow pitch, and I said, I understand a little more about hitting. For one, you're a horrible hitting coach. And two,
I'm glad you told him that.
Nobody ever really told me not to just swing as hard as I fucking can every time. I didn't know this. I was a fucking kid. Nobody ever taught me that. I was told to hit it as hard as I fucking can. And so I got up there every time, no matter what pitch it was, and I swung as hard as I fucking could. And sometimes I connected and sometimes I didn't. You guys never told me, like, hey, just fucking half swing, get on base.
Yeah.
Just
ground one out there and get on first.
Nobody ever told me that.
No, they're like, hey, you gotta go hit a home run right there.
Yeah.
That's what I do with golf. I mean, I golf today, and that's where I always get in trouble. I try to swing too hard.
Nah, let the club do the work.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. And then, then I get pissed off at myself because I'm doing bad. And then
then it's worse.
Then it's just even,
you gotta,
not even thinking.
I've learned, like, I hate golf. I don't want to say I hate golf. I enjoy it on occasion, but I've found, it takes too much to be great at it.
Yeah.
But I have found, as I've gotten older, to really take people's advice and be like, let the club do the work and, get that form down. And once I figured that out, I was like, oh, well, that ball will go 350 yards barely swinging.
Well, and the rough part about it is I've played for too long knowing that when I swing really hard and get a good hit, I can put it like 315, 320 out there, and I'm chasing that. It's almost like a drug. I'm chasing that high of that feeling.
It's
of killing it. But if you do it consistent,
if you slowed down doing it consistently,
right,
you'd be like, oh
and
shit,
you'll be a lot happier of a golfer.
Yeah.
so is BJ from Seymour?
Yep,
Seymour. So
yeah.
I also saw another news article that I wanted to bring up. Seymour police use school bus to nab distracted drivers and seatbelt violators.
I saw this. They're not the first city to do this, but
what I want to get at is and we do the segment Judgment Day every now and then here, and I didn't play the song or the intro, but I'm going to judge that because that's like chicken shit. Like if you're gonna be giving me tickets and you're like trying to be undercover in a school bus and you're going to be pulling me over that way.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. Like,
but see, the time that I saw it, they were doing it to nab people running the school bus stop sign.
That's what, okay. So in this article, it said that they were doing it because of that. And now they're doing it to catch people without their seatbelt and speeders. And I think in the article somewhere, it says nobody passed the bus when it had the stop sign out.
Yeah.
But they caught 10 people without their seatbelt or texting on their phone or whatever. Like, come on.
Get them the fuck on.
Just leave people the fuck alone.
Get the fuck out of here.
We have enough problems that we deal with on a daily basis than having to pay some fucking stupid ticket.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have my seatbelt. Like I always have my seatbelt on because my car dings at me until it drives me insane and I have to put the seatbelt on.
I just feel like there's more crime to be fought besides
what else could you be doing
not
with that?
wearing their fucking seatbelt.
Like, I mean, the meth out there, they're trying to crack down on weed and all that stuff, that it's legal 90% of the country now. Yeah. So what else could you be doing with your time than sitting in a school bus trying to nab people?
I don't know, but that is, to me, that's as bad as throwing people in jail for smoking weed. Right.
And also it's adding to our disdain for the law enforcement, because there's already that great divide where everybody kind of hates cops right now. It's like kind of cool to hate cops.
Yeah.
But I think that if they would kind of ease off on this kind of shit, maybe we wouldn't hate them as much.
Yeah, I mean, they got to make their money somehow. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but
it is a business, which is weird.
Yeah,
it's weird. But to add to that, I also was just listening to the Joe Rogan podcast on the way home from golfing today, and they were talking about the trooper that shot the groundhog. Did you see that video?
No, I didn't.
So there's this groundhog is
got tired of that fucker reappearing.
This groundhog is in the middle of the road, blocking traffic. The trooper gets out. In the video, you see him kind of waving, talking to the groundhog, I don't know, trying to shoo it or something. It starts to come at him. He goes down on one knee and shoots the thing. The thing is still moving. He goes down on his knee again and shoots it again. Couldn't even kill it with the first shot.
Why would you not just hit it with a fucking car?
Or just punt the fucking thing off the road.
Yeah, it's a fucking groundhog.
It's not gonna kill you.
It's a bear.
Yeah, it was in Rhode Island or something like that, I think. I'm probably gonna get roasted for that because I don't know, but I just think it's funny. But I wanted to bring up when we were talking about with the marijuana and people getting thrown in jail for that. I think you've been posting about CBD oil a lot lately. Yeah. So what's that about? Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, obviously, if for people to have more I guess, or for people to be better off, you need weed. I mean, you just do. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I think everywhere should be recreational. I think everywhere should be medicinal. I don't care. I think it's our right, to be able to use this plant however we want, but we can't.
Yeah.
So, the next best thing is hemp. And there's a lot of benefit from hemp. I mean, you can build houses out of it. You can build cars out of it. I mean, you do all kinds of shit.
I mean, there's like crazy conspiracy theories saying that we cut out the production of that so that other things could exist, right?
Well, we
maybe
didn't.
Not crazy conspiracies, but
we didn't. I can't remember the guy's name now, but one guy did, because he owned a bunch of paper mills.
Yeah.
And about the time that I think it was a decorticator came out for hemp, and which allowed us to process hemp faster, that's what he saw it as a
threat.
Yeah, as a threat. And so that's when he started pushing this, because he owned newspapers. So he started pushing this hemp shit and this, and tied it in with marijuana, and made it
reefer madness.
Yeah, reefer madness. But along with the hemp, you do have essential oils, like it's those kind of fucking oils, because that shit's retarded. But
you don't want to dollop a mint on the back of your ear.
No, that shit does not work. But CBD oil has a lot of benefits. I mean, it has a lot of different amino acids in it. It has all kinds of shit that can help you with the inflammation, with fucking MS. I mean, all kinds of shit. And it's the only reason that I kind of got behind the product that I sell now is because it's water soluble. Because all the other CBD oils that are out there are all oil based. Well, your body can't actually process that. So you actually, like, Charlotte's Web is like the original. It's like it's the fucking OG of CBD oil.
Yeah.
I mean, that was made for Charlotte. I can't remember her name now, but it was made. It started in Colorado, and it was made to stop seizures. And but it has, like, if you look on their packaging, I think on the liquid it has like 43 milligrams of CBD oil per 0.5 milliliter of oil. So in one fucking shot, you've got 1 milliliter, you've got like 86 milligrams. Well, the average person can only process about 6% of that.
So it's like it's being wasted.
You're only getting like 5 milligrams.
Yeah.
Well, you get something that's water soluble, and you get 94% of that.
Yeah, because we absorb. I mean, we process water way better than anything else.
Are we like 90% water or some shit like that? So yeah, I mean, it was something that I've used for a long time.
What kind of benefits have you gotten from it? Because I've never even like tried it, and I'm like the kind of person that if there's something that's like any kind of like supplement or something like that, I at least try it because I want to see if it's going to work for me.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I've taken it for a long time, and I've just recently started taking this new stuff. But I mean, I had, from like my knees are fucked up, like they didn't hurt anymore. My back didn't hurt. My neck's all fucked up from leading with my head. It doesn't hurt anymore.
Right.
When I first started taking it, it really kind of helped with like my ADHD, and I was actually that's how I started filming Pissed,
right?
Because I started taking it, and I was just like, oh, look, let's go do this,
yeah,
and so that's how that's the only reason that video series started was because of fucking CBD, but over time, without
you kind of acclimate to it, is that one of those things?
I mean, kinda. It's just like, especially like with me, with like having ADHD so bad, like it would take a really heavy dose to keep it under, and without it really being legal for doctors to prescribe, you really have no way of knowing, what kind of dose you need, and so that's why I ended up getting on Adderall, which is fucking horrible for you.
Yeah,
but
how do you feel that has affected you?
I mean, it's actually been really good.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously after a month he put me on max dose.
Yeah. Well, which I know people that have had like I've had friends and stuff in college, and like I would kind of like always ask if I could borrow one or something like that, or buy one from them. And
I got you.
I know for a fact that I don't. It's weird because I know I have some sort of like attention, but it's not necessarily attention deficit disorder. I might focus on stuff that's not like the important stuff. I don't know if that's like makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the best way that I could really describe like what because it's hard to tell somebody what you're feeling. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When it's you really don't have a good way to describe like what's happening. Like for instance, I mean, I did okay in school, but I have a really good memory. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it was just memory. It wasn't reading and studying. Yeah. Because like when I would read, the words would start running together, and I'd have to stop and try to refocus and then start reading again. Well, I may have read a whole fucking paragraph with those words doing this, but yet my mind's still reading it.
Right.
It's so fucking weird.
And it's what I've actually, something that just like kind of opened my eyes to what I think might be my issue is people have said that addictive personalities. So like the reason that like I don't necessarily have ADHD or anything like that. I have an addictive personality. I'm addicted to my phone. So I'll be doing something. If I see a notification or if it's been, an hour and I haven't looked at my phone, like I'm looking at my phone. And the same with just anything. Like, I mean, I smoke cigarettes and I've tried to kick them, and I've kicked them before for months at a time. But like, I'm very habit driven, and I'm habit driven. I feel like I do have an addiction to anything that I get into. Most
people with ADHD do have addictive personalities. Mm-hmm. It's anything from like photography. I got into, fucking got hooked. Well, first it was video, then it was photography, then it was fucking podcasting. Then it was, you name it, and because it's I got bored real easily. When I learned how to, do photography, like when I actually learned how to use a camera on manual, when it's adjusting, your f-stop, your ISO, your shutter speed, all this shit. Once I figured all that out, after that came all the technical shit. Mm-hmm. Well, that was shit I had to read, and that was shit I had to learn up on. Well, fucking forget that. Yeah. So it takes me a lot longer to get good at something because how I have to learn it. Mm-hmm. But like with being on the Adderall, and it's so fucking weird because in the morning, I'm getting off, but in the mornings,
no, it's good.
In the mornings when I'm, after it's wore off, cause like I'm on instant release, which only lasts about 4 to 6 hours. So in the mornings when I get up, my mind's going 100 miles an hour in 100 different directions. And so I get up, I take my pill, and I get everything ready, and it takes about 45 minutes to kick in. And I'll be driving to work and it'll kick in. And your mind is still, it's like a fucking tornado in there. Mm-hmm. It's just going around and around and around. And all of a sudden, everything, it's like it just goes right down to one thing. And you're like, oh shit, I'm driving to work. I didn't realize I was driving to work till just now.
It's insane because that's the exact feeling that when I've, bummed an Adderall off of somebody, that's the feeling that I get. But I also know that with me, I can be like, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to do this. But on the flip side of that, I'm one of those people that I'm the same. I've actually said this on the podcast before. I wish I had more than one life to live because there's so much cool shit that I wish I would have learned to do or done as like a career or gone to school or like tried more at this or did this longer. It's just one of those things that I am the same way. I get bored at stuff because of back to the very, like, this is coming for full circle and I didn't even plan on it. Coming back to getting average at stuff pretty quick. Yeah. I'm pretty good at something real fast. And then I feel like I'm not making any strides, so I just kind of like give up, and I'm like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm okay.
You probably got a little ADHD that you almost fucking defined. But it's so weird because what actually made me stop and be like, okay, you're going to have to do something. You know, my wife's a psychologist, fucking master's degree, all this bullshit.
We got to get her on a podcast.
She won't do it.
Damn.
She won't do it. But she had told me for a long time, her and her other friend, because they're fucking psychology people, and they all fucking hang out together and fucking analyze every goddamn thing you do. And but they both were like you've got ADHD. You probably should try and do something. I was like, fuck that. It's just me. And you know, like I told you before, you know, I'm going to get my real estate license. Well, so I had to take I took an online class because I don't have time to go to a fucking classroom 2 hours a night for fucking 12 weeks.
Right.
And so I did it online. Well, that's, you know, anybody who's taking anything online knows, like, you have to, you know, tell yourself, okay, I have to do this tonight. I have to do this and that.
Yeah. You know? Like, I'm getting ready to take a class at Ball State online, and they say that it's a 3-hour class, and you should have the 3-hour class and then also dedicate, I want to say, like 8 hours for every 3-hour class. So you're at least dedicating 11 hours a week to something. Yeah. And, you know, so I started taking this class, and, you know, I was fighting it the whole time. Same shit as I went through in high school, as I went through in college, trying to fucking concentrate and read something without thinking about 30 other things. And it all kind of came to a head one night, and there was a page that had 4 sentences on it. It took me 20 minutes to get through those 4 sentences and actually comprehend what it said. Because I would start reading one, and then it was like I was thinking about the podcast, you know, or I was thinking about, like, man, I'd like to get the camera back out, maybe take some, you know, set up a shoot with somebody, blah, blah, blah. You know, I was like, fuck, I got to do this. And so after those 20 minutes it took me to comprehend 4 fucking sentences, I fucking shut it off and I went downstairs, and I was like, I need to be put on something. And she was like, what do you mean? I told her, and she was like, I fucking told you a long time ago, you've got to do this. And so we went and got put on it. And now, like this morning, you know, I was waiting on you to fucking text me because we were supposed to start this at like 1:30 today, not fucking 4 o'clock. Man, I always overestimate how quickly we can get through a round of golf. I'm serious. Like, I'm always like, oh, it should only take like a couple hours to get through there.
It's 4 hours for 18 holes.
No matter what.
Minimum.
No matter what.
And so I'm sitting there, I was, you know, studying this morning, and my youngest was sitting on my bed, you know, fucking 15 feet away from me, on her iPad with volume at full blast. The fucking TV was on, and I can hear through the monitor that sits on my nightstand my fucking 6-year-old down the hallway on her fucking iPad. And before being on Adderall, that
you would have been focused on all those things,
every one of them. And the studying would not have got done.
Right.
But I'm sitting there and I can hear all this, and none of it's a problem. None of it's just there's just noise, and it's.
Back to what we were talking about, though, do you think that's hardwired? Do you think ADHD and stuff like that is hardwired, or do you think that comes from, like, getting into stuff a lot? Like, I mean...
No, I mean it's not hereditary. And I don't think it's nature nurture. I just think it's some people are wired differently, and you know, you just happen to be. Yeah, I mean,
it goes back to that, like, competitive gene. Like, I love my little brother and sister, but and my family is really big on sports. Like, sports means that that determines your worth, kind of, like, as like a kid growing up. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
And I love my grandpa. He's an amazing guy. He was on the 50th podcast of this show, but we all tried really hard because we knew that if we did good, we'd get, you know, praised because, you know, the grandpa would be like, hey, great game, or, you know, good job. And my little brother and sister, they have I feel bad for them, because I don't know if this is just today's kids or today's generation. They're competitive just to get that, I think, to try to get that praise from family, whereas I was competitive because I wanted to fucking win. Like, I wanted to make sure that I won. I cared about that, and I wanted people at my games, but if nobody showed up at my football game, I was still going to play just as hard and try to win just as much. So I wonder if that's kind of like goes with that whole entitlement, like, generation that we talk about.
I honestly think that it is the generation that is now, because of social media and the likes everybody wanting to get that like, who liked my picture, who liked, whatever. And so, everything that they do is out in the open,
and it's judged,
and it is. But it's all about getting that. I feel like it's all about getting that praise, so it is like the only reason they're doing it is so they can get that praise, from, oh, you did a good job, me growing up, like I fucking hate it. I still to this day hate it when somebody tells me I did a good job. Like, yeah, I'm aware that I did good. I don't need you to fucking tell me that.
I love that. That's awesome.
It's like, don't tell me that I did good. Tell me the two things that I fucked up. That way next time those two things will be good and I'll be perfect.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is. And it wasn't taught. Like
I said, that's wiring. I think that's wiring.
I mean, my dad didn't teach me that. He taught me to want to be good. You know what I mean? But he didn't really force it. Like, you have to be good, or you can't do this, or you can, he was just like, if you want to do it, do it, but it was that.
He wasn't though. What's the country singer that's the dad in Friday Night Lights? I don't know. But
Dwight Yoakam?
I think you might be right about that.
Isn't it the same guy that played the dude in Sling Blade?
I don't.
Who is the?
Once again, I'm losing at this. I'm usually really good at this. Either way, he's the dad that's duct taping the football in the guy's hand, and you didn't have that dad.
I don't want your life.
That's a different football movie, but I like it.
I know, that was Varsity Blues. That's what I was thinking of.
I based my entire high school career off of that movie.
Oh, dude, we watched that movie so many fucking times that we knew every single word. And my high school football coach was pretty cool. And we could go to his house and hang out. It was kind of like his way of keeping us out of trouble.
Yeah.
If we could come hang out at his house, because he knew we were all fucking drinking and smoking and doing all kinds of dumb shit. And we had watched this movie, I don't know, 200 times.
I'm right there with you.
And he was like, well, bring it over, let me see it. And so we brought it, me and our quarterback brought it over, and him and his wife, all of us sat down and watched it, and we made it through 20 minutes, and she kicked us out of the house because we wouldn't quit repeating the fucking lines. I mean, it's like what's up with Carrie Ann Bailey? She looked like she fell out the "I'm gonna suck your dick" tree and hit every branch on the way down.
One of my favorites is the tweeter doing his dance, and he's like, you know what I call that? The new tweeter end zone dance.
You give a girl a couple Vicodin, a couple of Percocets, a couple of beers, and the panties drop. It's very nice. Twitter, you think you'll enjoy prison? I don't know. What? I don't know how the fuck I still remember this shit. I'm gonna fuck you big. How about that?
That is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Especially that one chick comes out in the whipped cream bikini.
And what's funny is she's been around forever.
Oh, yeah.
And she's been hot forever.
Yeah.
But she always had those weird, giant teeth. Kind of like...
yeah.
Julia Roberts, I think, is one of those with the big teeth.
Uh-huh. She looked like she'd bite your dick if she sucked it. It's like, I'm gonna go ahead and gnaw this bitch off.
She would, absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. No, it's like the whipped cream bikini, especially as a teenager, as a young boy, saw that and went, that's a great fucking idea.
Yep.
And I told the girl that I dated in high school for a long time, she had watched it, and I was like, you need to do that one night. She was like, I'll do you one better. I was like, okay.
How can you do that? All right.
We went in, one night, she invited me over, her parents were gone, and she broke out the whipped cream, and I thought, oh, this is going to be sexy as hell. She proceeded to put that shit all over my dick and suck it off, and the sticky fucking mess that it left was a goddamn nightmare. I was like, that is the dumbest fucking thing we have ever done.
I had the same experience, except for it was ice cream. So you knew it was gonna be sticky and gross.
Yeah, fuck that.
And then it's like, I'm starting to worry about the sanitation of the downstairs area for them, because we did the deed afterwards. And
yeah. Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah,
you got something brewing down there.
That's like BJ talking last week about about the bread that the woman makes from the yeast from her own body.
So gross.
That's fucking disgusting. I told my wife that, and she was like, "Shut up! I don't want to hear that."
As soon as I heard you guys telling that story, though, I thought that there was another news story that was talking about a woman was making yogurt that way. She was
really?
using that to make Oiko's Greek yogurt.
Oh my god! See, there's so many fucking questions that I'm not going to Google to find out. because it's hard telling what the fuck will show up on my Facebook ads. Just from Googling, like I'm gonna start getting fucking Vagisil ads on my Facebook profile.
Absolutely. The thing that I've noticed is as soon as you do search anything like that, you're getting ads right away.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the very last thing that I wanted us to talk about before we get out of here is the Google Assistant. So when I was sitting around last night, and one of my friends Facebook messaged me, and he was like, "Did you see this?" And it's the Google Assistant makes a phone call to schedule a haircut for somebody. So what happens here? Here, I'm going to pull the video up, and I'm going to let people hear it online or on the line on the podcast.
A woman's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
It turns out a big part of getting things done is making a phone call. We think AI can help with this problem. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know about this, man.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a woman's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
He even throws the
Sure,
in
give
there.
me 1 second.
Oh my god.
Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m.
We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15.
Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for?
Just a woman's haircut for now.
Okay, we have a 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. is fine.
Okay, what's her first name?
The first name is Lisa.
Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Have a great day. Bye.
That's fucking insane.
It sounds just like a person.
Yeah, there was only like a couple instances in there where you could kind of tell it was a computer.
The only one was I think when she asked like the times.
Yeah.
Like I think it threw it off, but it also was like, whatever, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
I think the Terminator thing is coming soon.
I mean,
where they're just going to get rid of us. They're going to figure out that we're the problem and just eliminate us.
When the smartest men and women in this country, mainly the two guys I'm talking about, say that we shouldn't use AI, we should probably fucking listen.
Yeah, probably don't do that.
Fucking Elon Musk says AI is a bad idea. You should probably listen to him because fucking LA is allowing him to drill fucking tunnels underneath LA in a fucking place that has earthquakes all the time.
And on top of that, the old fucking people in the Facebook, like when Zuckerberg was talking to Congress, they're not going to know how to fucking deal with this.
They barely know how to use their phones.
They're not going to know how to regulate this. They're not going to know, like, there's so many shady things that are going to come from this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, people like what I want, like the first thing I wanted to say to my friend was like, well, you know, this could be used for shady stuff, but like, it's not a real person. So it's not going to be able to like sell stuff for people. And I'm like, wait a second. It's going to be able to sell, like, it's going to be telemarketing. It's going to take over telemarketing. So if you have a telemarketing job, you're fucked. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I mean, it's
start learning how to code computers.
It's like anything. You know, we're getting to that point now where more robotics are being used, and you know, and then if AI comes along, you know, that's just that much more that they're going to be able to do. It's going to save companies money, but yet in turn, it's going to put a lot of people out of work. Yeah. But you know, and it kind of goes back to, you know, obviously we listen to Rogan and Rogan talking about a universal income. Mm-hmm. I honestly think that's going to be something. I really do, because there's no other way around it. You know, it's either we have a universal income, or you really have the elites of this world, because anybody who owns a business, owns any business, is going to have nothing but fucking robots and AI doing the work. That's 100% 100% production rate on whatever it is that they're doing, you can't get that from fucking people. So they're not going to hire people. They're
Right.
gonna put their money
innovate to
exactly
take it over.
So you're either going to have a bunch of elites or you're going to have a universal income.
And then also I've heard talk of it's not going to be necessarily all of us producing goods. We're going to be producing content. We're going to be producing stuff that people can buy from you. It's not going to be like you're going to make a shirt for somebody, because there's already going to be thousands of robots making shirts for people. So it's a very weird situation. But what I eventually ended up texting my friend was, I'm not going to have to fucking worry about this. I'm going to be dead way before any of this stuff happens.
I don't know, man. I don't know. With as close as they are with AI, and I mean the fucking Boston Dynamics robot that does backflips and fucking runs through the forest.
We talked about that.
I have a good feeling that within, the next 30 years, a lot of this shit's going to be in place. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, I'm not planning on living for very long, so maybe I'll still be able to get out of here.
With all the shit I was doing, I didn't think I'd make it to 35. 35 was my age that I thought I was going to die, and I'm going to be 36 in a month.
All right, well,
so I got a month.
It's all gravy from here.
So I got a feeling that I'm going to live a lot longer, because most of the people in my family have lived, into their 90s. So, but and it's like I said on our show. And I'm pretty sure I heard it on another pod. I think it was on Rogan, but that doctor saying that, if you're alive in the next 30 years, there's a good chance you're going to be alive in the next 130 years. Yeah.
I've always quoted Ricky Bobby in that. With my high level income and modern advances in science, I could live and be 200-300. But, go ahead. I know that everybody that listens to this podcast probably listens to your podcast, but go ahead and just plug it anyways before we get out of here.
We're Smugcast. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher. We're not on Google Play anymore because I don't know, they won't.
I don't understand Google Play. They got us out there, I think, but
we were on it, and then we changed who we hosted through. Yeah. And I went in to change our RSS feed, which is very simple on every other platform. Yeah. Went in to change it, and it came back and said, this RSS feed is not linked to this account. And I was like, no shit, I'm trying to fucking change it. Like, I know. I'm very aware that it's not. But we're not on Google Play, but Stitcher, TuneIn. You can't ask Alexa to find the most recent episode of Smugcast because of Kevin Smith's Smodcast.
Oh, really?
It thinks that every time you ask it, it thinks that you're asking for Smodcast.
That's bullshit.
It's like the Married with Children podcast. You can ask for them because they're on TuneIn, and it'll pull it up.
I don't know if I'm on TuneIn. I'm going to have to look.
The only reason that we're on TuneIn is because Repo has a Tesla, and that's the app that's on the car.
That fucker. I want a Tesla.
That's the only reason that we're on TuneIn.
And I've told people that I don't want a Tesla just because I want to be green. I want a Tesla just because it's fucking cool. Like,
it's cool as shit, but he can only drive so far because,
Indiana's not very forward on the charging stations.
Well, actually, I mean, we are kind of. I mean, they're spaced out enough to where, like he plugged it in one day and say we were going to Chicago. Well, your routing takes you to where the charger is. Like there's a supercharger in Beech Grove somewhere. There's one in Lafayette. It's kind of spread out, but because of him, we're on TuneIn.
Yeah,
more or
good.
less. But yeah, it is a cool car. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't own one.
I just think they're cool as shit. They just look cool.
Yeah, they do.
The technology's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can find us, tune in, smugcast.com. We're on Facebook. Search Smugcast. We're on Instagram, Smugcast _ Twitter, Smugcast Show.
All over the place. And I appreciate you coming on, doing the show. It was fun.
Yeah, hopefully the sound is.
I think it looks better. I don't know. It does? We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how it sounds once we play it back. But this has been part 1, so I'm just going to end it right there. Welcome back to the second half of the Juice of the Morning podcast. AP is gone, replacing him is the best co-host a guy could ask for. Shane Jones, how you doing today, man?
Good, man. Just I was gonna say I'd had some tough boots to fill, but that's not true.
Yeah, he was talking about how he was going to be taking over the co-host spot, and he was like, man, I got 2 podcasts I'm going to be doing now.
That'd be crazy if we did podcasts Inception or whatever you want to call it.
Bizarro world.
Yeah, where I go and, be AP's guy, and then BJ comes here.
I think actually, too, what we need to do is if you guys do that, you guys have to like kind of try to act like the other person.
What's up, guys? This is AP. We're doing Budbox BB and Ranger Nutrition
and give us shit about how bad our podcast sounds the entire time.
You guys sound shit.
He did come over though and help set some settings on here, some stuff for the MacBook Air, so hopefully it actually sounds good. He was like, I'm not sure if it's going to sound good, but I think it's going to.
Yeah, it's
going to. And we kind of previewed it, so it sounded a little bit better.
Yeah,
definitely louder.
In terms of sound, I don't know what's going on, so that really means nothing to me.
Yeah, definitely I want it to be louder because of the fact that like when I'm listening to it in my car, I want it to be able to kind of be at like medium volume and be able to hear everything. Because if you listen to like Rogan, if you listen to Corolla, all those like professional podcasters,
crisp is the word. I think.
And you don't have to turn it up really loud to hear it because they have it set at like a certain level.
Well, you guys kept telling me I sounded so good, and I was like, cool. As long as I sound good, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, I figured out that your mic was actually, I thought your mic, the one that I was adjusting last week, I thought it was Kevo's mic, and I kept turning it up because he kind of was leaning back away from the mic a little bit. Yeah. And so what I realized was I was actually turning yours up the entire time.
All right.
So we just featured you, I guess.
Sweet. I'll take it.
But we are missing Ryan Kelly today.
Yeah.
It is Mother's Day. Shane,
he's probably getting some Wetzel's pretzels, dude. I love that. I can't wait for him to do that more. And we should have him like prank call someone. And be like, what's up? I have him call Zoomies. That would be fun.
Yes. And I also thought like, this is off the air talk. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
So with Mother's Day, did you do your stuff yesterday?
No, I did it today. I got up semi early, what some people might call early, and went to my mom's house and really just hung out for a little bit. Weed eated.
Oh yeah.
Doing.
So you did some like chores, that kind of thing to be kind of like a gift.
But I also got her a shirt from someone I'm hoping to have on the podcast here soon. His name is James Dant. Actually, the store is called James Dant. The guy that owns his name is Tommy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get too far into that and get ahead of ourselves. But I'm talking to him. But it's a cool little store over in Irvington.
Yeah.
And they have all kinds of they had I guess you would call vintage Indy 500 shirts.
Oh, dude, I need to get one of those.
Yeah, and it's like a total kind of I don't know, just like I told him when I was at the store, I was like, if I could shop anywhere for the rest of my life, I would pick this place. It's like the dudes, they have beard stuff, they have candles, they have like anything a dude could want.
Candles? You go for candles as a dude?
Well, I can't smell, so no. But
yeah, that's true. You won't go for a candle.
I could see how wanting things to smell good, and
and like a manly scent.
I was told that it was the one we got was a tobacco candle.
That's interesting.
But I think I'm assuming it doesn't taste like or smell like tobacco. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you got your mama's shirt, did it like have anything on it, or was
it was like a raglan? Do you know what that like the shirt you have on right now actually? And it was just an Indy 500
That's
old
awesome.
school looking kind of like. My mom just likes shirts. I was gonna get her from one Black Acre, which is right next to that place, and it's a brewery, and they didn't have any larges, so I went right next door. And
that sounds like a really cool place. I definitely need to get me like a vintage looking like Indy 500
Yeah,
shirt.
and another thing is it's like a local business where like it's cool to have someone that's just in Indy. He's got his own shop. It's local, and it's just like how you want to go to like buy local type stuff. Yeah. It's one of those things. So
and we are trying to kind of like go in that direction of the unpredictable talk radio for Indianapolis.
We do.
And we want to talk about stuff in Indianapolis.
And we want to find little things that maybe not everyone knows about, and kind of be able to find some cool stuff for people to either go do, or places to shop, or just little hidden things in Indy that people don't know about. And that's something that we're going to really be focusing on here in the future.
And yeah, the Patreon, I'm trying to get that set up because I think that would be something that we could do as like a subscription type service, where not service, but basically the Patreon is people could, donate $1, $5, $10 a month, sign up, and they can have certain access levels to certain stuff. And I thought something very cool that we could do is, go to local places, do like adventure type stuff, and people have access to that if they, donate $1 a month or $5 a month or something like that. And I think it'd be good. And we would also do it on this podcast as well.
Yeah.
But just kind of a deeper dive when people got into it.
It's almost like we would talk about what we did on this podcast, but then only get the audio from the actual thing that we went and did. If you're on the
Background,
Patreon. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. I think that's one of the first ideas I had for it. I don't want to start pushing you guys to the Patreon until we have something worthwhile for you guys. Cause I don't feel like it's cool to be like, oh, for $1 a month, we'll say your name or something on the podcast. I just don't think that's worth
cool.
it.
I think
you have to have something worth it for them.
And that's the most important thing to us. Before us making a dime, we want to make sure that our Patreon is worth it.
Yeah. And so for my Mother's Day, for what I did for my mom on Mother's Day is I asked her, like, I won a $50 gift card to Fogo de Chao. And so I was like, I texted my mom, I think on like Wednesday or Thursday, and asked her if she wanted to go. Like, I was like, we could go Friday, we could go Saturday, whatever. And then
if you live in India and you don't know what Fogo de Chao is, I'm kind of worried about you. But if you don't know, it's a Brazilian steakhouse, right?
Brazilian steakhouse. If you haven't ever been there, it's basically they carry around very nice cuts of meat
on giant skewers, and they wear like these
barachos,
really tall boots or something like that.
These like high-waisted belts and these like flowy pants.
Yeah. It's pretty
cool. may have like been watching it a little bit too much.
Yeah, they're like, this guy's staring at me. They look like they're gonna go either like something with bulls, or ride horses, or
a pirate maybe.
Yeah, or like just a real shitty clean pirate. Like they're clean pirates, they're not.
But yeah, so I texted her and I was like, hey, I have a gift card. I didn't tell her I guess. I can't remember if I told her I had the gift card or not. I didn't want to take away from the fact that I was taking her to go to dinner, but she was all in. She decided she wanted to go Sunday because she's busy. My mom's out there living her best life. Mm-hmm. She's going to Cincinnati, riding horses, doing all kinds of cool shit that I'm very happy that she's happy. So like, I didn't want to like try to take away from her enjoyment for Mother's Day. Like I wanted her to do her thing.
Yeah.
So we decided we're going to go to Fogo de Chao. We got there. And the thing that I want to say, I may have just had it was a brunch day, but Fogo de Chao to me, if there's an equivalent, which is called Tucanos, and it's like kind of a lower level. It's, Fogo de Chao, you're going to spend $50 a head for dinner. Tucanos, probably $25 a head. So it's like
I think lunch at Fogo de Chao is $25 and then dinner's $50 a person. But, I don't know what Tucanos is.
And since it was Mother's Day, it was full price for brunch today.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't realize that until we got there. So anyways, so this day that I thought was going to be probably like $100 to $150 day turned into like a $240 day with tip.
Yeah.
So it was really expensive. I wasn't expecting it. As soon as I got the check, I kind of looked down and was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, oh, let me pay for like part of it. I was like, no, it's Mother's Day. I'm not going to let you do that.
I dug myself this hole and I'll get myself
We're going to get out of here. But what I was wanting to get at is like, even though it's like twice the cost of Tucanos, I feel like it was just as equal to the place, if not a little worse, because the salad bar at Tucanos, I think, is better. It's there wasn't a lot of stuff to like get really excited about.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like, oh my God, this is so good. And I don't know, maybe it just was a bad day for me. Maybe I'm getting a little judgy. Like,
did you have fried bananas?
They did have that.
Did
it was
you?
okay.
Yeah,
It was
I
all right.
didn't indulge in that when I was there.
They had this really awesome bacon that was like kind of like a sweet and spicy.
Oh, nice.
But Jen got really pissed because she got like too much of a big bite of like super spicy like red pepper.
Yeah.
And it like ruined her like taste buds for like a couple minutes.
Oh, man.
But yeah, like I said, I think that as I get older, I think that the joy of going somewhere where I know I'm going to eat myself sick and get like the meat sweats isn't as exciting as it was as it is to me to go to like a really good steakhouse and get like a really nice cut of meat and like maybe some mashed potatoes or like some really good asparagus or something like that. Like that to me is
You
more
just
exciting.
said like my perfect meal when I go to any steak place is asparagus and mashed potatoes with steak.
Oh, yeah.
That's my jam.
And it's got to be, like I said, I think that I get more excited for that than I do now thinking about. So from here on out, I know that that's not going to be my first place to go to.
Tucanos for life.
Yeah.
I actually have a really funny story about my trip to the one and only trip that I've ever been to Fogo de Chao. I won't name any names because the information in it is a little sensitive. But I was about this time of year because the track stuff's going on, and I had some buddies that I think went to like Carb Day or one of those days, whatever it was. And I got a call from my buddy, and he said, "Hey man, come to Fogo de Chao and eat with us." And I was like, "Dude, I don't have money for that." And he's like, "It's cool. We found strippers' money on the ground." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, the stripper dropped her money and then we took it."
Oh,
I know, horrible.
Yeah, but whatever.
And I still kind of feel bad for going and enjoying.
I've got a story that I'll tell at some point like this.
They were going regardless, and I was like, and I didn't also find out that had happened until I got to. He's like, "Just come, we got money, we got you."
Yeah.
So I go there and eat, and I had a good time, and I was pretty impressed by it. But, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. But just the fact that I tell that story sometimes because it's funny that I ate at a really fancy restaurant on a stripper's dime.
You were like, what was the movie with Richard Gere where he like saved Pretty Woman?
Yeah,
so you were Pretty Woman.
It was like reverse Pretty Woman. I don't know because like because
he
the stripper
like takes
paid,
yeah,
then it's the reverse.
That's true. It is the reverse. So,
but it was weird sitting there and like eating and just eating whatever I wanted and then being like, okay, bye, getting up and not having to pay for any of that. It was strange, but.
So have you ever gone on dates where you did not pay, and it was agreed upon before you went?
No, I wouldn't do that. I'm like I think I'm pretty
old fashioned.
I would like to say so in a sense. I don't think it's like, especially on like the first 10 to 20 dates, I feel like it's important that the guy pays. And then once you get a little more serious, then you can start splitting it or whatever. But I fall somewhere in the middle of our whole relationship. There's no way to think that I'm going to pay for every single meal that you have. That's kind of stupid. But also when the first 10 to 20 dates, I feel like I'll cough it up and, I think it's part of, what is it called? When you are trying to courting a woman.
I think that's what it is. But there's another word I was thinking of, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, so something along those lines, and I think that you're supposed to. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I have a funny story. So there was a girl I dated in high school, and we were kind of new into our relationship, and I think I got some gift cards for a birthday or something, and so I had that, but then I also had some money, and it was the girl's birthday, and she I asked her where she wanted to go. She mentioned Outback because we both kind of liked Outback.
Outback is good.
So we were like, okay, we're gonna go to Outback, and luckily enough, one of my gift cards was to Outback because my family knows I love that place. That's where I went for my birthday for 10 years in a row.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we get there. We eat, we have a good time, everything. Then the bill comes. I realize I don't have my wallet, and we're there for her birthday.
And you probably told, she probably didn't believe you. The whole I don't have my wallet.
It was the basically I had picked her up after football practice or something, and I had I drove over to her house, and then
was it the one on Washington Street?
Yeah,
or not Washington Street, but
no,
Post Road.
Yes,
yeah.
And so I had drove over to her house, and then we got into her car, and I drove her car to Outback. And what had happened was I was when I was changing out of my football stuff, my school clothes, I wore something different than I wore to school, and I just for some reason thought that my wallet
was she?
She actually, well, that's the
pretty
thing.
cool about
She
it.
was like the sweetest girl that I
And
ever
she
dated.
believed you.
And she did. And
Yeah.
then I told her, I was like, as soon as we get back to my car, like I'll give you the money.
If I was her, I'd have been like, you better fucking figure it out. I don't know. If you got to go back there and roll up your sleeves, I don't
But
give a shit.
I'm pretty sure the server was like listening to us the whole time and
He's like,
completely
"Great."
thought I was a piece of shit.
Yeah, I'm not getting a tip. It's funny you say servers because I always like listen to that dumb like when people like literally fight over the check when
That's
they're like
so annoying.
like just like. And now I have this rule because I have people that are like, you better give me the check. And the guy's like, no, I get it. And then they're like staring at me like super seriously. I'm like, listen, here's my rule. And this is what I go by. The first person that says I'm paying, that I'm giving the card to that person. Yep. I don't care. And I've had ladies get like super shitty with me. And then they're like, I'm a better tipper. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
it's a good rule to live by though.
Because I don't have time for you to like.
What you should say is you guys can go ahead and fight to the death and whoever survives gets to pay.
I did that in the beginning where I would just like, they would be fighting and I would just set it in the corner of the table, like right in the middle of them too. And like, you guys figure it out. And that even got a little aggressive. So I stopped doing that. But
it's people diving over the table.
It's funny to like, that's what friends are for. And that's what boyfriend and girlfriend and husbands and all that stuff is for, is like, and we've talked about this when we go to the bar, like, hey, I got you this time, you know, I'll buy you a couple of beers. And the next time we go out, we're friends. That's what friends do. You don't worry about all the, being, or just pay for your own beers all the time. Be that weird person that doesn't ever let anybody buy you a beer, which is weird.
That is weird. And I've had issues where I've actually told my friends I wasn't going to go out with them because I was like, I don't have money. I don't deserve to go out with you guys. And then they'd be like, oh, we'll get you. And then I don't want to be the person to owe though. I hate owing people money, especially family. Jen and Jen's family has been like the most gracious people in the world. They've helped us in like numerous times. But as soon as they do something, I'm like, the very moment I have money, I feel like I have to get it to them like right away. Because if I don't, I'm going to like it's going to eat at me.
When I was like 21, 22, 23, I was the master of going out on a Saturday night with $20 in my pocket and getting completely shit-faced. And because I would just like make friends with like older guys or like people that are just like, they got money and they want to just be like in a cool group where everyone accepts them.
Dude, you and I were the same person when we were younger.
And I have that, I think I've told this story on here, but where basically like this guy gave me a high five and bought me a beer. So every time I needed a beer from that moment on, I would just be like, find him and be like, high five.
And then, so you like Pavlov dogged him.
Yeah, and I did. And then he'd give me a high five. He's like, you want another beer? I was like, I guess. Like, but yeah, I totally Pavlov's dog.
So like you should have had like a little clicker and just like clicked your pencil and like he's like, I gotta get a beer.
If you would have given me some time, I would have had him trained like I could just
so good.
I could just go whoo in the bar and he would just come out of nowhere. Here you go.
That's so good. That's perfect. That's awesome because that definitely works. Like I completely can see somebody doing that. No, what worked for me was the same kind of thing. I would only take a little bit of money with me, and the knowing the bartenders in a college town is awesome because you get so many things just given to you for free.
Yeah.
Like, because they're like, oh, I made too many shots. Here you go. Like by accident or something. And it's like,
it is cool. I noticed that Nicole knew a lot of people in Ball State, and like she would get me free drinks just by knowing like the bartenders at the locker room.
They were so awesome.
Yeah.
It's probably why the place went down and out.
Probably. Yeah. I don't know, but she knew like everybody. So I didn't have a lot of money then either.
Yeah.
So
one of my favorite stories is I never like we'd always go on Sundays because it was $1.50. Well, you call it. So like anything you want, $1.50 as long as well alcohol. And one morning woke up, wanted to go watch some football, but I didn't have any money. But I knew I had I had like that 5-gallon jug that I used to always throw my change in when I was like a server. So I had like, I don't know, over $100 probably in this jug. And I took it to the locker room with me and like set it on the bar and was like, get me whatever this will get. And the bartender looked at me. It was Adam Turkett. He came to our wedding and he was like, fuck you, man. And he like takes it off the bar, puts it behind the bar, and just like for the rest of the day I drank whatever I wanted, and he got me as many as I wanted.
That's perfect. Do you remember you probably were in college, so you weren't doing this a lot, but I would go to Broad Ripple, and there was on the corner of College and whatever the road, Broad Ripple Avenue, I think, there used to be a place called Peppers.
Yeah, I remember
and
peppers.
they had 50 cent like Thursdays. It was like, or I think it was Thursday or Wednesdays or I don't know, Tuesday. I don't know.
Yeah.
But basically, you could get whatever you wanted for 50 cents. And me and my buddy Mike would go there all
I remember like the
time.
radio commercials for that. Peppers on Broad Ripple.
Yeah, but it was like crazy that you could like get anything, a shot, 50 cents.
That's so weird.
Everything. That's probably why they also are not around any longer.
Well, it's like Dill Street. My first experience at Dill Street and Penny Pictures. They said it's penny pitchers, so like I assumed I needed to bring pennies, and I brought a bag full of pennies, thinking that I'm gonna like buy 50 beers because I have 50 pennies in a little plastic bag.
That's the old Dill Street, right?
Yeah. And what it was $5, and you get like a little pitcher, and they fill it up as much as you want.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Used to go. That was so fun because you would go and you'd fill up your pitcher, and we would all fill up all of our pitchers and then play just drinking games in the middle of the bar.
Yeah.
So you'd play like Sink the Biz or whatever. And,
Sink the Biz is awesome. Have you ever played at Nick's? And
my wife actually has a Nick's like tin bucket and all that like stuff as like a keepsake, but it's all rusted out now. We don't use it anymore.
We would always go there first and get way trashed and then go like do all the other stuff when I thought that was such a bad idea because we would like, they have those crack fries in a bucket too.
Oh, yeah.
And we would just go in there and get. But what I was going to say about Dill Street is the old one. Me and my buddy Mike both had like day jobs, but we would do what was called like a business trip.
Yeah.
And I think I've told you this a few times, but we would just be like, hey, he'd call me or he'd just put like text me like business trip ? And we would go on a weeknight, go to whatever bar or whatever party and like go and get like not drink too much and get too crazy because we didn't want to drive all the way back.
Right.
I had to work at like 8:00 in the morning the next day. But I would
if people listening now know like the geography of Indianapolis and Muncie, it's like an hour away.
Hour there, hour back.
Yeah.
Plus however much time we spent there at a party, like trying to run the beer pong table or whatever. And we would do this probably like twice to once a week, almost for like a while, which was reckless.
Well, and it's crazy to think about like how we're getting older. Like I would not be able to do that now.
I had a security job at the time, like when we first started doing it, and they had the stairwell that was dark, and I would like go do my round and just lay in the stairwell because I was so hungover and then people if I heard like it was like one of those echoey.
Yeah.
So if I heard somebody like open a door or like I would just like stand up real quick and be like, I'm on my thing. Like, how's it going? Like,
that's awesome.
But they had to know I was all like you said meat sweats earlier. It's similar when you're like super hungover.
I get like super paranoid that everybody knows that I'm hungover now because now that I'm in like the business world. So like I will not drink really, but if I have to work the next day.
I was that young guy at the job, and everyone else was older than me, so they all knew anyways. Well, I really didn't give a shit.
When I started at BioLife, that's all I did was I would go out on a Thursday or Friday night. I didn't have to work till noon the next day, but fuck, if you stay out until 3 or 4 in the morning, you're probably still sweating out that alcohol by noon.
Yeah, you do that now.
I remember a hangover would start at like 3 o'clock, like 3 hours into my shift. So I'm probably pretty sure I was intoxicated 3 hours into my shift.
Yeah, that's rough.
Like it's so weird for the hangover to start while you're awake. Like it never really happens that way.
It creeps on you.
It's usually like you wake up and you feel like shit right when you wake up.
Yeah.
That was like, I feel great. Let's go to work.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then like 3 o'clock hits and I'm just like, ugh.
If I've ever done doubles at a serving job, I won't say the one I work at now, but you go like drink in the middle.
Yeah.
Like you get your little hour, 2 hour break. And then you
I don't think I ever did that.
And then you have like 4 or 5 drinks and then you come back and then you're like, hey, let me get a sample. Like you're trying to not get the hangover from that. So you're like, let me get a sample of this beer.
That's such a good idea. But that's also.
And then you kind of ride it as long as you can until you're like, yeah.
What was there? There was like a TV show or something where they did that. It was Workaholics, where they were like they woke up but they wanted to prevent their hangover and they needed to get to work because they called their boss and left a really shitty message. But they needed to get there before her to delete the message. But they were like, I need to stay drunk the entire time to get there so I don't pass out or something.
That show kind of fell off the rails a little bit. It was so funny in the beginning and then it got really bad.
Yeah, but. Another show that did that I if we want to talk a little bit about Netflix stuff, I know that we usually do that at the end.
Yeah,
but I started going through Community again. I know I told you about that, and I know I told the podcast about that. That's a show that literally like the last 2 seasons just takes a nosedive into like ridiculous, like you have no idea what's going on. It's not really that funny. The best character is the person that I thought was not the best character in the beginning of the show, which is the main character, Jeff Winger. Yeah. Jeff Winger becomes hilarious, and a character like a characterization. No, when you're like cartoon.
I have
like
no
a cartoon
idea.
character version of yourself. Basically, they made him like more
animated.
No, it might be a caricature of yourself. Yeah. Anyways, he but he just like to me became funny and kind of carried that show in the last couple seasons.
I really like the relationship between Donald Glover's character and
Abed and Troy. They were great. And then because Troy left.
They would like nerd out and like do some really funny like. I just love Abed's like. He's so like.
I didn't realize when I was originally watching the show that he was kind of like on the spectrum when it came to like what is it
in the show, right? Not in real life.
Yeah, just on the show, and it became a lot more deep for me on this second round of watching it because they were always talking about how he's different than everybody else.
Because he's always zoning out and have these weird like dreams and daydreams.
And he like doesn't like notice other people's feelings. What is that I'm thinking of? That syndrome where people are
Asperger's?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, where he doesn't pick up on other people's social cues.
Yeah, that's Asperger's.
And I didn't realize that was. I just thought he was kind of like a weird dickhead when I was first watching it.
He takes everything kind of literal, and like also when he says things, he doesn't like have any kind of like remorse or anything because he's just like saying what
exactly he thinks.
He's not taking up on the social like, hey, maybe don't say that.
Yeah.
Great show.
That was, and like I said, the second round of watching it, that's why I like going back to stuff I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
I agree. I've watched stuff over and over again, and like you find stuff that you didn't realize from the first time. But yeah, that
really
show.
Resonated with me. Like what we've said before a lot when like, something really hits you and you're like, wow, I didn't really get that. And then like, it kind of gives you like that feeling that you're looking for from a show, which is an actual emotion. So maybe I'm just like emotionless most of the time.
I think people do that similar thing with The Office and what else? What's another?
Well, the Office is so weird because it's become almost like a security blanket for people.
Yeah.
People are like, I'm just going to watch that because I don't want to look for anything else.
Same with Friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although Friends is a weird one too. Because
I think people just put it on when they don't know what else to put on. Same with, what would you say?
The Office, Community.
Yeah. All those things are kind of good shows too. You can like, if you just want to like.
Some people love How I Met Your Mother. I'm not a fan.
I thought it was pretty funny at first, but it's just played out and kind of like, I think they tried the Friends thing.
Yep.
Just on a different. But can we talk about paintballs up, guns down?
Yeah. So I know I just saw this video.
I'm glad that you also saw this because we saw it.
And what's funny about it is it came across from somebody that neither one of us are, I think, associated with. Like we saw it separately, but then I've talked about it with other people and nobody's seen it. So somehow Google's algorithm, Facebook's algorithm has figured out that we kind of like to see some of the same stuff.
Yeah. I always run across the same videos in that little Facebook video stream. So I'm assuming it like knows I like superheroes. Yeah. It knows I like fighting. It knows I like crazy like footage of something, with animals or something like that.
Gotta love nature.
So do you remember what city this is in?
Is it Detroit?
Yeah, I think it might be Detroit. I thought that too, but I wanted to make sure. But basically there's these.
It may not be Detroit.
It doesn't matter. It's funny regardless. It's in what some people might call the hood.
An inner city.
Yeah, and it's these guys, and they're basically like, their fight against violence is that they are going to, instead of doing actual drive-bys
and killing each other,
and maybe they're not even actually, are affiliated with a gang or whatever, but they're just doing.
The way it sounded to me was they were tired of their friends and family members
being
actually dying in the streets, and they were like, what can we do? And it probably even started as just like a joke, and then it kind of caught on and was like, oh shit, we actually have something here.
And it's also fun because they're basically doing drive-bys with paintball guns. And so I could see how in their minds they're like, well, let's go have some fun. And also say that we're doing this so that we can get rid of some violence and our friends will stop dying, and we'll kind of do like this playful thing within the city, and as opposed to actually shooting each other. But to give you a better,
as you're pulling it up, I actually worked with a guy in Indianapolis from Gary, Indiana, and I shit you not, was something that really stuck with me as like a 18, 19-year-old kid. He told me that we're sitting here in an office building, like calling people on the phone, and this guy's telling me that where he's from, guys say they're sitting around bored and they're like, you guys want to go shoot some people? And that's like what they do when they're bored. And I was like, he gave me cold chills, and I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, that's why I had to get out of Gary. He was like, every time that we're just sitting around drinking a beer or something, somebody gets bored, they're like, hey, we should go shoot some people, or go shoot these people that have been messing with us down the street or something like that.
It's crazy because there's so many different cultures and different things out there that it's like, have you ever just talked to someone and you're like, I don't even know how to relate with you because where you've come from and the things that you've done are so different than what I've done. Like we can't even have like the only conversation that we're going to have is me asking you about the crazy shit that I don't understand.
And that's what's so funny about that guy was like, he and I would talk about like video games, Madden, like he was literally my cube neighbor. Yeah. So like I would be like in front of him, he was behind me, and we would just sit and chat all the time about normal stuff. And I don't know how we got onto that subject, but it was just nuts.
So here's a small clip from, this was actually on Vice News, but this is one of the guys, and he's basically explaining how the paintball thing came to be, and it's pretty funny too.
Yeah. How do we feel about Vice?
I enjoy it.
I can't tell if it's accurate sometimes.
Sometimes they're very like politically skewed, but I will say that some of the information that they give is very, very interesting. Whether it's 100% true or not, I like to learn some of the stuff.
Good perspective.
Yeah, I think so. But here's this guy.
Me and Smoke and my guy dude, it was really his idea. He like, we started a paintball fight. Who we gonna beef with? And I'm like, me and another partner, he's like, the Cooper niggas. Fuck Cooper, nigga. Yeah, fuck Cooper. Where y'all niggas at, nigga? We all y'all niggas at?
So basically, that's the video of him on Cooper Street messing with these people that are obviously from.
Is he in the car right there?
Yeah, he's shooting the sign.
Yeah,
and then and then he goes back to kind of telling what else is going on.
Ass, nigga. So then I'm like, fuck it. They outside. We gonna pull up and shoot.
He shot me and my brother unexpected. We talking. It felt like it was a real shootout. We're in the back of a truck. Duck hang out the window, laughing. Yeah.
20, 30 minutes later, they pull up, shoot me down on my house. I thought it was a game. They come right back. Then it became a whole 6 mile first warm. It just started going real heavy, man. Like real heavy.
The sound of paintball guns is so awesome.
Kind of sounds like real guns a little bit.
Yeah. Ran around, man. You putting the real guns up, picking the paintballs up, you know what I'm saying? You ran around sliding on everybody. Stop the violence, man.
Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe, though.
So basically, they're sitting in the car, and he's like, "Stop the violence," but he's also saying no one's safe at the same time, which is pretty funny. I think it's cool that
it's ironic.
Yeah, and they're also talking about how like when they first got into it, cost them like $1,200 to get the gun and get started, and then they're like, this guy pulls out like a vest out of the back of his car and
like
some
a police
gloves,
vest,
and he's like, "Yeah, this is what I roll around in." But basically, it's just these guys trying to stop inner city gang violence by doing paintball drive-bys instead.
Yeah, and the city's worried because they don't like the fact that the paintball guns. He was like, some of the paintball guns look like actual weapons and
Not
stuff
only
like that.
It shows them hitting glass and it breaking glass.
Yeah.
So they're strong enough to where they could probably still do some damage. But I guess at the same time, it's better that they're not bullets.
Yeah. Do you want to wake up and walk outside and see some paint on your house, or do you want to wake up and walk outside and see somebody torn in half because they got shot by an AK-47 or something like that?
Well, from a police perspective, though, it's kind of they are also doing some things in the video where like shooting the ice cream truck and just like shooting just whatever they want, which is kind of like maybe not do that.
Kind of counterintuitive, right there.
Yeah. So, but I just thought it was cool, and I brought it up to you, and you had seen it too, and I was like, wow, we should probably talk about that.
Do you think it's a positive? Do you think they should continue to do that?
It's definitely more positive than actual drive-bys
Actual
and
violence.
shootings, but also I feel like they can only do this for so long. I'm not sure where they're from and what the rules, like what they're allowed to get away from in that area. It sounds kind of a lot,
Right.
But it's, at the end of the day, I guess it's better than real people getting hurt. But I could see how it could be a problem for local police because they're like dealing with, them basically shooting at whatever they want to do, and then that person's going to call and be like, yeah, I just got shot at. But I guess if they keep it just to the guys that are like
into it,
playing it or whatever, then I guess it's not a big deal.
And then did you ever scroll into the comments?
I did not. I don't see, like, that's where I would have been like, I would have in my head, I'm like, do I want to? And then I'd be like, no, I'm good.
There were some people posting like, these dudes ain't using frozen paintballs. They don't know what it's like.
Oh,
because people freeze them and would shoot each other.
I was just assuming there was going to be a whole bunch of racism involved in the comments.
There was plenty of that as well.
I just don't like reading that.
Yeah.
So I was just like, nah, pass.
See, some of my favorite times lately have been clicking on news stories and reading the comments.
Comments on certain things can be really funny. Speaking of comments on certain things, we had ourselves a thread on Facebook where
you should pull it up.
I can paint this picture for you, and basically it's a picture of a piece of wood, and within the piece of wood there is what looks like maybe a white lab's face.
Yeah, yellow lab or a golden retriever or something like that.
I said white lab.
He's white.
That's not a thing. But
he's got white privilege for a dog.
Yeah, leave it to the white guy to be like, the white lab.
Black labs matter.
That's not it. I should probably unplug from this too. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So,
but it set off a firestorm. I feel like
it did, and it gave me a lot of joy to know that there's other people out there, especially close friends of mine, that love a good pun and or just funny like. Okay, and also I forgot to say the piece of wood has the dog, and then there's a guy and it says, "Should I take my dog to the vet?" And then someone commented underneath it in the meme, and it just said, "I would," but WOOD. And then so that kind of got me started on like that's so punny.
Yeah.
And then so I just posted that, and then like it's kind of weird because nothing happened initially.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say, Mark's buddy Jesse Riddle kind of started like 3 days later after I posted it.
He's also been on the Boss Hogs of Liberty,
I just saw him live on there.
Which is part of the We Are Libertarians network.
I did see that. I was like popped up my phone, and he
so
was
now
on
we
there
got to
live.
get Jesse on here.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I'm down for that. Him and Mark maybe at the same time.
For sure.
And I did talk to Mark, and finally, I guess he was always down to come on. So we got to have him on soon to talk about. He's possibly got some more graphics coming on skateboards and that kind of stuff. And we're going to
the one that you got is dope.
Yeah, he signed it for us, and we're going to have that up on the wall before
excited.
You know it.
Hell yeah.
So Jesse Riddle just put not funny. Because because in the wood there's knots, and the knots are what make the picture, kind of the eyes and the nose of the dog. So he started off, and then I was like, okay, I'll
KNOT, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'll play. And then my next thing was like, he looks okay to me.
I did like that one too.
And then you said, son of a birch, you guys should stop. And then he said, is that a board or a collie?
And if anybody else wants to join in and just post on this,
sure,
I think it's
still
public.
there, yeah.
I think it's public.
Everyone kept saying, we're going to leave now. I'm like, no, let's keep it going. I was like, I didn't say nothing. Mark just said, this thread is Hollywood material to me. You said going out on a limb here and saying that may not be a dog going out on a limb. I said, the dog will be Pine. And I said,
yours are always short and sweet, but they get a laugh.
I was hoping the Pine and Fine were close enough to. And then I said, I think we're all just barking up the wrong tree. Definitely not the wrong tree. You see, this is dogwood. And then some mean things are said.
Mean things.
Because it's the internet, and it wouldn't be right if it wasn't. Right. So I'll skip that. I wish you guys would stop being mean. You guys have to be oaking me by yours.
That was me.
You over there. I said, these tree puns are unbelievable. And then he said, all right, I'm going to make it like a tree and leaf this thread. And then I posted a thing that says bonsai.
I like that one. I do like that one.
A meme of Groot. And then Rachel Presler, our common friend, posted, I'm not sure the kid's name, but it's from Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
See, I didn't get that reference.
So it's Ed, Ed, and Eddie, and it's the kid, I don't know, but he basically walks around and his like best friend is this piece of wood.
It's like bored.
So it's funny. And then I'll scroll down and finish it off with what you thought was the winner of this meme, and that is... Mark, he's good at because he didn't really say something the whole time,
right.
And I think like the whole time he was trying to think of something funny to say, and then he came through. So he just put, all oaks aside, this would be pretty funny if this was dogwood. So you use 3 in one small sentence, and you put hashtag boom winner, and then my mom put bark.
I love it. That was even better.
Yeah,
I should have posted winner after that.
Leave it to my mom.
She wins the strap, the pun championship.
Oh man! So, have you seen a couple movies lately that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. So we watched 2 recently. Valerian, which I didn't have high hopes for. It didn't do well at the box office. I didn't hear a lot of talk about it. But I'm always a sucker for like science fiction movies.
It would have been so cool had they just have switched a few things. Like it had a very like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy feel to it. And they did a lot of really cool stuff, but me and you both agreed that the lead role in this, played by Dane DeHaan or DeHaan, I think I'm saying it's, he's just kind of like this puny.
Has he been in other things that we would remember?
I'm not gonna remember the name of this, but it's called him and 3 guys get powers. They go and
and
he's the weird one that like goes crazy and kills a bunch of people.
What was that?
And ever since I saw him in that,
that's where they like, and Michael B. Jordan was in that, wasn't he?
Yep.
He was the athlete friend.
Yes, and those 2 guys are fine and they're cool and they're enjoying it, and then he starts getting all like and like
weird,
picking up cars
because he's like the strongest out of them, but he was like the biggest loser out of all of them.
And then at the end, they're basically like in this like plaza, and he's like pushing cop cars back, and he finally
that was a cool movie.
He finally gets impaled.
Yep. And that was another found footage movie, and I actually posted that on Facebook too. I'm a huge sucker for those movies. Like they could be terrible films, but I'm going to watch them.
I've always wanted to like get powers. So any movie involving someone either even close to my age getting powers, I'm like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Like X-Men movies are great because it shows kind of how sometimes. Well, I guess they're all just mutants, but there's some movies where it shows how they get their powers. Like even. Meteor Man. Do you remember that movie with it's got Bill Cosby in it. It's a predominantly black movie, but it's this guy, and he's like this puny little guy, and he gets powers from a meteor and he becomes Meteor Man, and it's like a dorky old 80s movie, and you have to watch it. It's pretty fun.
I probably will watch it now for sure.
But back to Valerian, the guy that played the lead role, me and you automatically agreed that.
Well, you brought it up, and I was like, or no, I think I said that if that guy would have been played by anybody else, and you like immediately agreed, and then said that you thought that on your own, and then 3 other people I've talked to about this movie think the exact same thing.
And I'm not saying that every lead action person should be some buff guy that is like a good looking dude, but whatever, this guy's just strange. Like you kind of said that he was trying to be like real smooth and like, you know, but
kind of like a badass, but like also go to the ladies, but also kind of like funny too.
But he came off creepy when he's like, you know, you want this, and I'm like, I don't know if she does, man. So it was kind of strange. But the girl in the movie, we both agreed that
she did a good job.
Yeah, her name is Cara Delevingne, I think.
What else do you think she's been from? She's been in other stuff too.
She for sure has, and it's nothing that I can think of. I told you earlier, the only thing I can think of is this like funny footage from like an interview she did. Yeah. And the 3 like let's just say it's ET or ET and
or TMZ
or something like that. And they're trying to do this like on the phone, but you can see the videos of both of them talk to them, and she's just like not really saying anything and not giving him much. And then the lady on there is like, well, we'll let you go so you can go maybe drink a coffee or a Red Bull.
I think I heard about it.
And she gets really shitty, and it's like too far, but it's just like a cut of like people basically being like called out on. It was like a video of a bunch of people being called out or doing something weird in an interview.
The character that I thought, or the actor that I thought could have played Valerian was Brendan Fraser, but like young Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser in his prime.
Yeah, in his prime.
Now he looks like
if Valerian was made right after Mummy, the very first one.
Well, what do you think happened to Brendan Fraser? His hair is like
I think he had health issues, plus like going through like extremely terrible divorces and like other stuff.
So bad, dude. It's like, how do you go from
been aged
being
like 20 years,
so handsome to this like, oh man, his hair's falling out.
I
and
think,
it looks
like
all
I said,
like,
I think, and then
then he's like, fuck it, I'll start wearing cowboy hats. And then there's all these memes of him wearing a cowboy hat, which was a horrible decision on his part.
And then there is like a pivotal moment that I just heard on another show that I listened to. I can't remember what it is, but something happened where he like didn't get a role for something that he was supposed to, and it was like a really like a movie that blew up as like a huge movie and like a huge success. And
really
he didn't like
heart.
like it ruined him, like it destroyed him. But I will never not tell people, go see the first Mummy. See Mummy Returns.
Oh, they're both good. I think
after the third one, it kind of like devolves into like.
And then the last one
like
had
craziness. The Rock.
No,
the Scorpion King.
Oh no! They made another one just recently, like a year ago, and it had Tom Cruise in it.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
and that was them trying. I don't know if they're still doing it. Cam, one of my buddies, that's like really into movies. I think he would know, but they're still trying to like bring back the like monster movies that studio owns. So like Frankenstein, the werewolf. They were kind of trying to do like an Avengers thing, but with those characters.
Yeah, well, there's within either DC or Marvel, there's also like a league of those guys. Mm-hmm. Like, and they're like, I think it's
like the Avengers Dark or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think Doctor Strange might be one of them.
Constantine.
Constantine. Swamp Thing, I think, is one of them. And together they're called. And then Doctor Death, or maybe his name. Ghost or Dead Man. Is it Dead Man?
I don't know.
But he's basically like, I don't know.
And then there's a character, I can't remember if it's DC or if it's Marvel, but he's the Etrigan, where he like if he says like this like poem, he turns into this like demon that can like fight people. It's like awesome. That guy. But he like rhymes it. He's like, I am the Etrigan, and then he like turns into that.
It's kind of like Shazam with a shorter.
But it's long.
Also, another movie that's going to come out soon is the new Spawn. And I've heard that there might possibly use. Now, it's surely his name is just going to escape me.
It's
Horrible Bosses with the black dude with all the tattoos on his head. That's
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx.
That would be a good
Spawn.
one.
I think
that's
a
good
perfect.
One. Yeah,
I think it's so perfect.
Yeah. What's the one that I think I just saw? That was getting ready to come out.
Also, you should bring up that thing about we talked about Robin on the last podcast, and we actually had a listener chime in, and we were sitting there butchering. I was like, I think is Nightwing, and just completely butchering anything that has to do with the DC universe. And this guy kind of set the story straight about how there's separate Robins, and that Nightwing is I'd have to read it, but
I feel like an asshole because I feel like I somehow accidentally deleted it. I don't know how I would have done that.
Well, say some stuff for a minute, and I can probably find it.
I need to stop deleting stuff by accident. I do that all the time.
Oh, you sent me actually quite a few things about the Blue Corner with Bellator, Scott Coker, 50 Cent. That's never going to happen.
Yeah, we actually talked about that with AP and I because I was like, do you think, because as soon as that happened, that picture was released, people were spouting rumors on the internet and basically was saying that 50 was going to fight Rampage Jackson.
That would never happen. I listened to something on Fighter and the Kid, and they basically said that like, he claims he's he would just get murdered. He would get completely murdered.
I told AP just to disagree. I said he's going to at least make it to the second round.
And what dream? I can't find this either, but I'm kind of shitty I brought it up because...
well, hold on. I'll find it, I think. Because I sent it to you as a... I thought I sent it to you as a picture. How the hell...
I know, and it's just not there.
It's not there.
Oh, maybe you sent it to me... in a group thing.
Group message for sure. That's exactly what
I got it. I'll find it. Yep. Okay, so I guess the guy that sent you, his name is Patrick Solis.
Yes, Patrick Solis
the second. And so basically, we talked about Robin and his origins and how there's several Robins. And to set the story straight, he said, not to say you you care about this, which we do.
We do care.
Yes.
Thank you, Patrick.
But the Greek or nerd in me wanted to,
geek.
Yeah, he was trying to say geek, but it says Greek. Wanted to send this when you guys were talking about Robin on the last episode. So Dick Grayson does become Nightwing, and is a super badass in my opinion.
I was the one who said Dick Grayson turns into Nightwing. You guys were trying to call him a different name.
No, I think you said something
You guys were saying he was Nighthawk.
Yeah, we did say that wrong. He got that planted in my head because he said it. And I was like, yep, that's right. And then
Come on, Kevo.
The Joker does kill Robin, but that was Jason Todd, who later becomes back as the Red Hood. Which now that, as he said that, it made me remember that he does come back. Tim Drake is another Robin and later becomes Red Robin. Damian Wayne is Batman's son who becomes the new Robin. His mother is Tala al Ghul, which is Ra's
al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul's daughter, I'm pretty sure. And I knew that as well. But Terry McGinnis is the Batman Beyond,
which I'm watching right now.
Yeah, his dad's DNA was changed to Bruce Wayne's DNA, so there would be someone to carry on the Batman name. Bruce was unaware of this at the first. It was done by Amanda Wallace, which I'm pretty sure is the leader of Nest.
Yeah.
Or no. It starts with an A, but she's Amanda Wallace is the one that's in Suicide Squad. The black lady that's like.
I know who you're talking about.
But she plays a big role in a lot of the Batman cartoons and probably the comics as well. He said, love the last episode. Keep up the good work. So thank you, Patrick. We appreciate you. And don't ever be afraid to email us and put us in our places when we say dumb shit.
Yeah, and it's juiceinthemorning@gmail.com. So it's just spelled just like it sounds.
Yeah.
My mom actually told me that one of her friends was talking about they liked and shared the episode and have been, and they were like, I hope he doesn't think that we're weird for doing that. And I told her, I was like, absolutely not.
No.
I'm wanting to give them a hug and tell them thank you so much for sharing, because you listening and sharing with other people is more than some of my closest friends have done.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't even listen to the show. So I am super grateful for anybody to listen and share.
The weird shit that I would let people do to get our names out there. I would let them, I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's a Patreon right there.
Yeah, if I could get
anything goes.
If I could get people to write our names in poop in bathrooms, I would be fine with that. You think we would be like, no, don't write our names in poop?
No, definitely.
But if you put Juice in the Morning, best podcast ever, in your own poop, writing on any bathroom in Indiana, I would love you forever.
Be immortalized.
Send me a picture of it as well. And that'll be our cover.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Or melt a Hershey bar and do it. I don't know. I don't care. As long as it looks like shit, I don't give a shit.
I completely lost my train of thought after the poop thing.
I was just trying to think of what would
Oh, no. I said there should be an anything goes level of the Patreon. So if people paid $100 a month or something, anything goes.
It'd be funny if they, you know how you said earlier about they could pay money and they will say whatever they want us to say. What if they're just ping pong, saying random, I am stupid, I am stupid.
I had to be I am Groot for the entire episode.
I am Groot, and
you'd have to respond to that.
I am Groot. And what if it would just be funny if we were doing demonic spells? We're just I can't pronounce.
I already
this.
have too many demons that I think follow me around.
That's true. I'm just trying to think of funny things that if people made us say.
Yeah, I don't have anything. Pretty much what I talk about is pretty stupid anyways. So.
I know. I regret a lot of things I say, and then I'm like, I don't care.
I feel like this is a pretty good episode though so far. I mean, I think it's been entertaining. I've laughed a lot.
I just don't like when we fumble for information, but
right. I mean that's why we need Ryan here.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't have had that email either.
But no, back to the movies. So I saw the two movies. I saw Valerian and 12 Strong.
Yeah.
12 Strong is a kind of based on a true story where the first group of soldiers to go over to Afghanistan right after 9/11. So
I know that because there's a scene where they show in the preview where he sees the towers getting ran into, and then he's watching his TV, and that's probably the moment where he decides he's going to go and enlist.
Yeah, well, no, Chris Hemsworth is his character. I'm not going to ruin it, but his character is a captain in the military. He's gotten to this rank in the army.
He's not a Nazi?
No. And he sees that happen. And what had happened was he had, right before that happened, he had taken like a desk job. And basically he was a guy that had never seen combat, but he had trained with a team for like, 2 or 3 years. And
an extensive amount of time.
Yeah. And so he walks into the office, and Rob Riggle, who's an awesome actor.
I love Rob
He's
Riggle.
funny. He's good at drama. He's good
He's
in
also
everything.
an ex-Marine.
Yeah. And so basically,
Can I tell you really
Hemsworth
quick?
convinces them.
Can I tell you really quick? And I'm sorry for interrupting you. Big John McCarthy from the UFC?
Yes.
The guy that does most of the... Him and Rob Riggle are the same person in my head. And somebody
I gotta
please
look
put
it
a
up.
side by side of them, because it is like...
Or we'll throw it up on the
It's
Facebook.
uncanny. And I'm sorry that I interrupt you, but
Big
it
John, what's his name?
McCarthy.
Big John McCarthy.
And
Send that to me and I'll make that today. And we'll put it on the
Rob
Facebook.
Riggle. And I'm going to feel stupid if they look nothing alike, but in my head, it's like...
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm
No,
sorry. Go ahead.
it's okay. Hemsworth, though, basically convinces them with the help of his chief, one of his like guys that's like right below him, I guess, convinces them to give them the opportunity to go over there. And the funny thing is, Jen's first reaction was like, it's weird that the military guys, like, they're fighting for this opportunity to be the first person there. Like, wouldn't you want to not be the first person?
See, that's the thing about people that enlist in the services or whatever, is that there is people out there that do it for like, I just want to have a career,
desk job, career,
blah, blah, blah. But
And
there's
that's what
also people out there.
Hemsworth character was basically, that's what they were thinking he was.
Yeah. But there's also people out there that want to serve their country and, have it to where like, they fight for our freedom and they do. They literally go over there and fight so that we can do the things that we do every day, and it's admirable, and it's cool for them to, I think it's just like kind of a calling to some people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'll go over there and fight for my country, and they basically want to do whatever it is they can to like show. Yeah. And it's like, I feel like there's probably more than two, but those are the two main kind of paths in the military. People that want to fight for their country, they go and they do infantry or become a ranger or like SEAL Team 6 or something like that, so that they can do that kind of stuff. Like Tim Kennedy, which is a fighter, and he stopped fighting in the UFC so that he could re-enlist, and now he's over there fighting for our country again.
And then another interesting thing that I wanted to bring up to the podcast, because we just watched this movie. My mom was watching it with us because it's Mother's Day. She was hanging out, and she was like, "Man, I couldn't imagine being a sniper." And like my first thought was, I feel like I'd rather shoot somebody from a distance if I was good at it.
Yeah.
I feel like I would rather do that than be fighting like in the shit with people. And my mom was like, "That's kind of a slippery slope. I mean, you're still killing somebody." And I was like, I don't know. I just wonder if I don't know if I would like immediately think that I'm safer, or if like I just feel like my first thought wasn't that I was safer. I was thinking that I'm probably more skilled. Like if I'm shooting from a far distance and like taking people out and protecting the other people.
Well, I told Nicole something strange the other day, and she looked at me like I was completely crazy. I just said, we were just like out of nowhere. I was like, I've been watching Barry, the thing about the assassin or whatever. And I was like, man, and we were like talking about, I was like, man, I don't know if this is what I want to do in college, blah, 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 talking about my career path. And then I was like, why can't I just be an assassin? And she was like, oh, what? And I was like, she's like, could you kill people? And I was like, if I know that they're bad, I don't think I'd have a problem.
Like Dexter.
I genuinely don't think, but you don't know until you actually kill someone, but I don't think I would have a problem hurting someone or putting,
if you truly believed that you were doing the right thing, it would probably affect you, but maybe it's one of those things that you feel like it's okay.
But I also don't mean it in the military sense or being a soldier. I more mean it like in like putting a gun to like a child molester's head and pulling the trigger. I don't think that it would bother me.
Yeah.
And I don't know that because I obviously have never killed anybody, but also, and then on the complete opposite side of that spectrum is like, if I accidentally killed someone that was a good person, it would haunt me for the rest of my life. So it's crazy how my brain thinks that way. Like,
well, and then, the whole 12 Strong film is like the war in Afghanistan. And that's the thing that like really hit home with me is like, you don't know in that war, they don't have any idea kind of who they're fighting sometimes, like whether it's
that can be scary.
Yeah, whether it's a civilian or if it's somebody, like every person you're looking at as a possible threat.
Yeah.
And there's even like young children that they enlist, and like they have, you know, carrying around guns, and you have to keep your eye on that, and you might have to kill a kid because it's either you or that kid.
That was a big part of the war over there, was like, it was hard and we were losing people because of that, because we didn't, like, how do you fight a force that doesn't really have, like, we're over here with uniforms, and you know them over there, those are the bad guys, but these guys are walking through busy cities with like different things on, and they wear so much clothing sometimes that they have guns underneath it and bombs strapped to them and all kinds of different stuff. But I'm definitely gonna, I think actually,
I suggest people watch it, because
actually as soon as really I leave here, I think, like, you know, why not go home and, like, I already was gonna go home and watch a movie, and now it kind of,
it's awesome. I loved it. It's not your typical, I think, war film. I mean, there is the typical war stuff in it, but it's good. It really hit home with me quite a few times. I've always told everybody this: if I'm watching a movie and I have absolutely no interest in picking up my phone and like checking Facebook or like looking at just random shit on the internet, then it's probably a good movie, because I have no interest in watching anything else.
I agree, because there are a few things that I watch where I know that, like, okay, I'm not touching my phone this entire episode and or movie because I've been waiting for this. Yeah. I also saw that I have like a Roku, and they will have movies on there when they go to DVD, and Black Panther is coming, because you can basically buy it right now for $19.99 and watch it. But I
get so annoyed about that.
I know, because it shows you what's there.
Like, why don't you just let us rent it?
And there's been a few times with Thor Ragnarok, I paid the $20, and I was like, I can't. Like, I don't even give a shit. Like, I tried to justify, like, well, like, what if I went to the movies and me and Nicole went, and it was $10 a piece, and I'm in the comfort of my own home, and like,
well, and then they have that thing that's out there. I want to say it's like 25 grand or 50 grand or something like that, but it's a box that you can have in your home, and when new movies hit theaters, you get them in the box.
And it's $50,000.
Like, I know that sounds insane.
No, if I was rich,
but
I would
I'm just
buy
saying,
it.
like, that would be one of the first things I own.
Same thing. If I was rich, I'd be like, top 5 things, that would be it.
Because Adam Carolla, one of the podcasts I listen to a ton, he has a friend that has the box, and they like go over for movie night at his friend's house, and they watch, you know, the Avengers. They watch whatever comes in right away because they can, and he has like a home theater or whatever. But it's just awesome. Like, I would totally buy that immediately.
Mark made a good, I hung out with him so I could get the skateboard the other day, or actually the deck. I keep calling it a board, which is like, I'm not a surfer. But he kind of made a good point, is that when we do our little thing where we're like, what are we watching right now? What are we doing? Let's maybe not just keep it to movies and TVs, but what about like tech stuff or stuff, something that we bought or purchased that helped us do this, so we can kind of get the word, or a place that we went recently that, like, Fogo de Chao would have been a good place had it been a good experience.
It was not a terrible experience. It just was. It didn't live up to the hype.
I understand. Yeah. Because that place definitely gets some hype behind it.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's awesome.
But yeah, so I think instead we could just do some stuff that kind of, like, if you get like something new that just came out, like what, like say the day PUBG came out, or like whatever, something like that. Or
did you see the Google Assistant that made the phone call to set up a haircut appointment? So I've already okay, so I'm not going to play it, but I've already played it for AP.
Okay.
But basically the Google Assistant calls a hair salon and sets up, and it calls and it says, "Hello, I would like to set an appointment for my client for a haircut." And it talks just like I just talked, instead of like Siri, where it's like very, very like robotic. It was like talking like a human, and the thing responded with, "Well, what time would you like?" or whatever. And she would say between 10 and 12, or no, she said 12 o'clock, I think, first. And the thing was like, well, we don't, the hair salon was like, we don't have any spot at that time. And they were like, so what else do you have? And, you know, the Google Assistant said, I think we want between 10 and 12. And they were like, oh, do we have a 10 o'clock open?
So it's basically responding accurately.
It's learning, and it can tell the inflections in our voice to
Well, this kind of goes along with that thing you posted on this Facebook the other day about
the robots
that you can buy now.
We even talked about those on this podcast. That exact same company, Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, and I didn't know that it was they used that for the Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, that's the Black Mirror episode I brought up.
Yeah,
Spot. I think is what it was called. No, that's what the name of the thing is.
Know that they used that to help with that episode, but it's just crazy because you just basically brought up two kind of scary things. Like
AI is scary.
All that's missing from this dog robot is a gun on its back.
Is AI.
Well, put those two things together, plus
because right now it kind of
small Gatling gun on the back of that thing, and we're never
war is over.
Yeah, war is over.
Except for they might turn on us, and
I thought
be
it was
like Terminator.
kind of a lame of Kevo to say. So he said something about I think all these wars are going to be fought with robots, but then I kind of agree with him now that this stuff is coming along because he had mentioned this the other day, and I was like, I don't know if it's just going to be like bait because like we don't do that at all really now, except with like drones and stuff. But the way that this stuff is moving so fastly, I don't see any problem with 10 years from now there being robots running around killing, countries that don't have those things. Yeah. So like if say we go over to Syria and they don't have that kind of stuff, what do you think we're going to use?
And it's crazy that that video that I sent you guys, like that thing has cameras on it and it has sensors on it, and so it can like map out terrains that we haven't been at because it's like it can create a 3D image of what's around it.
Not only can it be used as a soldier, it can be used as like a scout.
It could be a scout. It could be security, just like watching your back, like so you don't have to stay up all night and walk.
Justin Bieber in 10 years is going to have like robot dogs guarding him.
And it's got like a little hand on it, so like it can grab stuff, open doors.
That's crazy,
man. It's scary to think about, but it's also one of those things that like I told one of my friends, I was like, it's scary, but my first thought was like, I'll be gone before any of that happens. And then my friend was like, I don't know, it might be very soon.
You know what else was scary? The internet. The phone was probably scary when it first came out. Electricity it's all just altering our reality and making more things possible. And I don't think, and for every bad thing, there's a good thing to enter, to
and
put
just
in there.
Like what we talked about with the Facebook thing with Zuckerberg, like our government has no idea how to handle any of this right now. Like as this advances and this stuff gets crazy out of control, we have no idea how to regulate.
Well, another funny thing that kind of maybe fits into this a little bit is I watched this video the other day, and it was like a Saudi Arabian prince, and you know how they always like there's those scams where they're like, just send us your information and we'll send you millions of dollars. And it was a video of it like, what if it was real? And there's like it has this Saudi Arabian prince or like this African prince sitting at a desk, and he's got one of those lottery things and he's spinning it and he pulls it out and he calls a number and he's like, they basically hang up on him. He's like, I tried to give the money away, and nobody. He's like, I would take the money, but I can't play because I'm part of the. It's just funny. But something funny that was brought up, and I think it might have been on Joe Rogan, or we even talked. I just can't remember where I got the information from. But they basically said that once countries that don't necessarily have the internet power and the internet access that we do get there, then it's going to be people in the United States calling those countries because they're new to the internet. So they don't understand the internet yet, and they don't understand how scams work. So there's going to be, instead of people from other countries calling us, it's going to be us calling them and scamming them.
Man, I need to get in on that.
I'm just going to start. I don't even know how to call another country. Do I need one of those phones?
Like as North Korea is starting to get like more advanced, I'm going to start.
Yeah. We're gonna piss them off because like right out the gate they're like, all right, we're like gonna like hang out, like we're gonna be part of the world now. And as soon as they do, there's like hundreds of Americans calling like,
spamming
we'll give you $100,000 if you
just give us your social security number.
Kim Jong or whatever. Like a month later, it's like, all right, we're going back.
We're gonna try to nuke them.
I'm gonna continue to malnourish all my people.
Well, and I just, as soon as I saw the Google Assistant thing, I was like, immediately there's like 10% of jobs out there probably just out the window because there's so many people out there that just do menial tasks.
Yeah.
But that's their career. Like they schedule appointments for people. They write stuff out for people. They dictate things for people.
There's been times where I've just been like, why don't I just go like become a driver. And I'm like, do I want to do that? Because like I've genuinely in my mind like thought whether that was a good idea, which I don't feel like a lot of people do, is to go into a career that might be outsourced at some point, and that's to robots. I mean, and like you don't, like we've talked about this before, and I brought it up about the driving thing. Like eventually it's just going to be trucks that carrying stuff to city, just with a robot driving it or whatever, kind of like we talked about is with the Wolverine movie or whatever.
Right.
But
and the thing that my friend and I that were talking about this said was like, start teaching your kids to code, like how to code computers and how to code.
Who did say that? Someone said that in here, I think. Or
this was my friend Tony, but he and I were just messaging back and forth.
And maybe it was on the We Are Libertarians thing, and maybe it was James Neese or the other guy.
It was Neese. Neese was talking about coding,
like coding and like
learn how to do that.
And people are too lazy to code and learn that kind of stuff, and they kind of sit around and like, why don't I have a job? And like, that's what we're talking about.
But I just think that is kind of like, that's possibly the future. Like, and another thing that my mom and I were talking about was it's possible that I could foresee in the next 10 to 20 years us not having like college. Like there might be a version of it, but it may not be as necessary to get to where you want to be in the future.
I don't know. Then the only reason I would like challenge that is because college is such a source of millions and millions of dollars
finance,
and like it's crazy to think about how much money that they make off of basketball teams and football and those kids and whatever.
That's why I think there's still be a form of it. I just think that there's going to be less of a stigma of, instead of you have to go to college to do this, like you pick something you want to do and you learn how to do that.
Do you think they're making it harder for people to become certain things like doctors and stuff, or making it easier?
I feel that I would say from my experience so far that, well, I can't say because I haven't worked or met anybody that's like a new doctor or a new lawyer.
Well, I know
like
that
I've only met and interacted with older ones.
I dated a girl that was a teacher, and she kind of told me that it was crazy, and she was kind of pissed off because they lowered the standards of what it takes to become a teacher.
Oh, really?
Which I think is like the wrong thing to do, if any. If like.
Because the demand is high because not a lot of people want to be teachers.
Yeah, but also our existence is solely based on intelligent people that like haven't even gotten to a place of power in their life or whatever. And I feel like if we like start like rounding or cutting corners in that area, then we're just gonna have a bunch of dumb people. Yeah. But I just thought it was crazy that they were like. And I don't know if it's like that for other things, or they're making it harder to be a doctor.
It's possible. There was something that I saw just recently that somebody wasn't allowed to. They had gone to school for their doctorate, but in Indiana, they didn't. Indiana's like laws changed on like the requirements to be some sort of doctor. I don't know if it's a psychiatrist or a MD or a dentist or whatever, but whatever it was, they changed it. So this person had gone to school for like 8 years and was not able to practice their profession because they changed the class structure, which to me, it's kind of a cop out if you're saying, well, you aren't able to take like 2 or 3 more classes to get to where you need to be. Yeah. Like that's kind of you just being a bitch
also,
and not finishing it.
Maybe foreseen that they were making changes in that area, because I kind of did that with respiratory therapy. That was my initial thing that I was like, I'm just going to do this when I started college, and I stopped doing that because I was basically told by several people that they're outsourcing that job to nurses and teaching nurses how to do it instead. And I'm not saying that everyone's doing this. I just thought
I can fully say that most companies are trying to teach people to do multiple jobs in one, because then you become more valuable. This is 2008 when I started at Ball State, and I started in TCOM, and they were like, you need to teach yourself, you need to go through all these classes to be able to do video, to be able to do audio, to be able to be on camera, and to be able to do all of these things so that you are a more valuable asset for people. Because if you're going into broadcasting and you want to be on camera, but you can be on camera, you can run the camera, you can edit your own spots, and you can also like put everything together, lighting and everything, and present that package to somebody. You're way more valuable than them hiring 3 or 4 people to do the same thing.
Yeah, when they can just have one person.
They can just have one person.
It also goes kind of with nurses and nurse aides. Yeah. I think that there's and this is what I've been told, I don't necessarily know this, but certain hospitals have more nurse aides and less nurses so that they don't have to pay the wage of a nurse. And then other hospitals are the opposite, where they're like, we want just good nurses and less nurse aides, or whatever you call it. Like the RNs is the nurse, and then
are you talking about LPNs?
LPNs. So I think that
and CNAs.
Yeah, I think certain hospitals do it to where they really focus on one or the other.
Yeah. And I think that's, I don't know. I suggest that people out there learn to code. I also think there's going to be a resurgence in the trades. I think like building stuff and like actually doing the hard manual labor, because yes, you can teach like a robot to do that kind of stuff. But like when it comes to, I don't know, I just think that like working on those things, plumbing.
I think we're kind of farther away from robots just being able to completely
do
build
everything.
Something. Yeah. So and I think Mike Rowe from
I think
Dirty
electricians.
Jobs.
I think electricians are going to be in demand.
Do you know Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs? I think he is kind of the person that's bringing that, like he's on the side of that's bringing back a more like blue collar people learning trades and people doing that kind of stuff, because
there's already starting to be a deficit in that, where they like want more people to do it.
And for a while it was everyone, like we went from everyone was doing that to like, oh, everyone needs to go to college, and now we're kind of slowly going back.
Everything snaps back.
It does.
Eventually,
yeah.
Speaking of snapping back, this has nothing to do with snapping back.
I was like, what?
No, this has been one of my favorite conversations we've had. I don't know what we do like sometimes where it feels like you just capture that essence of like what a good podcast is.
I think we're just having an enjoyable conversation between the two of us. And this is like stuff we talk about when we're not on the podcast. Right. So regardless of people enjoy listening to it, we get a kick out of just having a good conversation.
I think it's awesome. And the podcast is going in like a couple different directions, and I'm trying to just I want to get us to where we feel comfortable doing, and it's this way every time. So, I would like some, if people want to give feedback on like if they like additions, if they don't like the additions that we've had, the segments that we've had, we're trying to come up with segments. So if people are interested in, wanting to hear certain things about our lives, I'm okay. I have a new job now to where if you want to know about BioLife and some of the stories I've had from the medical field in that plasma industry, I'm more than happy to tell any and every story about that, because it's hilarious.
Yeah. And also not that we're lacking in any creative facets, but like, it'd be good if you have maybe think to yourself, if I had a podcast, this is what I would do. Yeah. And we're not, we would want you to email us and tell us things that we could do to like, I would love to sift through some emails that
and I don't care if people are mean about it too.
Yeah, like this part of your show fucking sucks, dude. You need to change it or I'm gone.
Yeah, the only thing that I won't do is I'm not going to stop podcasting just because, or I'm not going to get to a point where I'm like, I'm not going to podcast because somebody told me I shouldn't do it. So
I don't think that anyone's person's opinion or even a large group of people's opinion should.
Yeah. But I mean, I just am laughing because the Smugcast, they had that review that said this show's not going to last very long or whatever.
Jesus, and I didn't hear about this.
This was like one of we talked about this like a while back, and it's kind of been a running joke because it's like it's a podcast, like it's our podcast. We can do it as long as we want. Like we don't. Telling us that you don't think it's going to last long is completely irrelevant.
Can I tell you my go-to like comeback for when people give me shit for either being on a podcast or talking about being on a podcast? So someone will be like, it's happened at work before, but they'll be like, don't mess with Shane. He's on a podcast, and I'd be like, what's your podcast called? Oh, that's right, you don't have one, so fuck off. And that usually works pretty well.
Did you get that? Did BJ tell you to say that? Because they said that.
Did they?
Yeah, they've that's BJ's like response when people have given him shit about their podcast.
That's
being
like
good.
If we were in like the Lord of the Rings world or universe, they would be like the elders.
Yeah,
the people that we look for.
But they haven't been doing it as long as I have. They've just been doing it better for a short amount of time.
Well, they're just older, so for whatever reason,
because I just started with a one microphone and crowded around it with 3 or 4 people.
Well, regardless if we like to admit it, they're wise in ways that we are not, and we're probably the same.
We've got some stuff that they don't know about.
Yeah, we're packing, bro.
Oh yeah,
we're packing. I got a whole arsenal. I mean, I'm just saying.
Just go ahead and unfold that arsenal.
Yeah, I'm like fucking, what's the raccoon's name? Rabbit.
Rocket?
Yeah, no, I'm saying Rabbit because the whole movie Thor calls him Rabbit.
Oh, yeah. That was probably one of my favorite parts, too. I didn't even think about that.
And then my favorite lines about that is when Star-Lord goes, he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you that. I meant trash panda. And he's like, I don't know what that means.
Is that worse?
And he's like, yeah, it's so much worse. Yeah. That's great.
That is one of my favorite parts of that too.
But basically what I'm saying is I appreciate having people around us that understand what we're doing and what we're going through and can give us advice and vice versa. Not that the Smugcast guys have ever asked us for advice, and I wish they would. It'd make my day. I know that. But they got a good thing going, and I think it's good for us to like.
I feel like it's kind of like a team. We're kind of building. We're building our own Avengers team.
Community, yeah. Oh, dude, let's talk about right now before. Who's who? You can be Captain fucking America, Mr. Showboat over here. You can be Captain America.
Yeah.
I think let's do everybody else first, and then
I immediately think of AP as Tony Stark because he's like doing the technology and like the audio and everything.
Yeah, I can do that. Let's go with BJ. Who do you think the Hulk?
I'm gonna. We haven't seen him angry yet.
Yeah, you're right. He's kind of like a really.
But
nice guy.
I think it's one of those that like we don't want to see him angry.
Here's who it is. He's Hawkeye, because he's always like, I never want to be on the camera. I'm always like, and he's Hawkeye's brooding. Always kind of like gone doing some other shit, and he helps out but when he does help, it's like he comes through and
comes through in a pinch.
But he's such a personality though, like his voice is such a good personality, so it's hard to like call him because Hawkeye's kind of quiet.
But Hawkeye's funny and BJ's funny.
Yes. I don't know. BJ's hard to. He's like a mix between the Hulk and Hawkeye.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think if we saw him angry, maybe we'd make a better decision.
I'm sure if we saw him angry, which he never gets, we'd fucking regret it. Yeah. I couldn't imagine. That's a big
unless he was angry at somebody else.
I don't know, and then I would love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, get him, kick his ass, BJ.
Who do you think you are?
I don't know who.
I'm trying to think of the Avengers because I don't think you're Thor.
I think I'm not even part of the Avengers. I think I'm.
Are you the evil guy?
I'm Peter Quill. I'm Star-Lord.
That's pretty good. I like that.
I think I don't know, either that or I would, if I had to pick an Avenger to be,
because he's a little unsure of himself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really recognize
he's from another planet.
He's a half a celestial.
Yep.
And I'm definitely half a celestial from the waist down.
That's good.
I'm a celestial. I want to get a shirt that says I'm a celestial from the waist down.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know, but
I'm just immediately picturing that your like dick can hold one of the Infinity Stones. It's like got that huge,
or instead of an Infinity Gauntlet, it's an Infinity like cock holder.
It's like an infinity condom.
Yeah, there we go.
You just got to get all of the jewels.
I like Thor a lot, but I don't think I'm worthy of Thor's.
Real quick, when we were watching 12 Strong, we were kind of scrolling along, and it started showing all the movies he's in, and it was Thor 1, and then Thor: The Dark World, and then Ragnarok kind of all next to each other. Marvel has come a long way. Like they made him really cheesy looking in the beginning. Like,
oh yeah,
the long hair, but it didn't look that good. Yeah. Like it was like really weird. Then the second movie, like the hair's longer, but like more like it looks good. And then they like cut it off, and he and he looks like a grizzled badass in the third one.
I saw this interview, and he was on like Conan O'Brien with the whole cast though, and he was like, I think it was. Peter Quill, or the guy that plays him, I can't think of his name right now.
How can I not think of it?
But he's from the or not Community.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt basically says like he's kind of shitty because, or it might have been the guy that plays War Machine.
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. One of them says, I'm kind of pissed off because they basically took his eye, cut his hair all fucked up, and took his pretty hair away. And then like
he was still most attractive guy.
Yeah.
That's perfect because that's exactly right.
He really is, because Conan O'Brien asks which one of you thinks they're the most attractive. Yeah, like they were referencing it to meat.
Oh, okay.
And Chris Pratt was like, I'm a pork chop. And he just said it really funny. And then Conan was like, who do you think's the steak? And everyone was kind of like, like I'm the this.
Yeah.
And then the guy that plays Falcon was like, he's a steak.
Yeah.
Thor's the steak, or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Chris Hemsworth is the
great.
steak.
And Chris Hemsworth's a cool dude. He just seems like he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's like a super good dad. Like you see him in all these pictures with his kids, and he doesn't seem like he gloats about being super good looking.
Right.
And I don't know, but I don't know. The guy could be a complete dick.
He could be. He could be.
I just feel like me and Chris Pratt could be best friends.
I think everybody thinks that because he seems like
yeah.
he seems like such a nice guy, but then he like got a really hairy divorce. So like,
yeah,
well, I don't know. Maybe he's not a nice guy.
No, we'll never know.
We'll never know unless we get him on the podcast.
Yeah, one day.
He's done a couple that I've listened to. He does seem like a pretty cool guy.
Really? What was he on?
He's on the Nerdist, but he did talk about a lot about his wife at the time and how in love they were.
Isn't it Anna Faris?
The Anna Faris.
Yeah, she's really funny too. Mm-hmm. Just Friends is probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Just Friends.
Have you seen it?
That's with Dane Cook.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. I don't know what the fuck ever.
But you should watch it if you haven't seen it.
No, I do like that movie.
And or if you don't remember it very well, go rewatch it because there's a lot of really funny lines in that movie. And if I would have remembered it when we did that movies that hold up, like I said, Saving Silverman, I would have used Just Friends because so many fun.
Speaking about Just Friends, we're more than just friends.
Yeah, we are.
And
we want to prove it to you guys.
And AP said he was taking your spot. I would never let that happen, man.
Yeah, I
love you, AP, but
we would have to fight to the death.
Yeah. So we've had a good podcast today. I enjoyed doing it. And
in all seriousness, I can't wait to listen to you and AP spitting the shit. And
we talked a lot about like ADD and stuff like that. It's actually really interesting. I thought I was worried at first because he was without BJ, I was without Shane, so it was kind of like the two guys that were funny, but I feel like we're funnier with you guys than we are by ourselves.
So I think it
turned out pretty well.
I think it's important that me and BJ do a little segment of our own, and maybe add it on to their show and or this show, and I think that'd be interesting as well.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But just to prove to you guys that me and this dude are basically gay for each other, we got a song for you. You guys have a great evening, and hopefully the juice was worth the squeeze.
Boom.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end. People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a one-boy, cuddly toy, my up, my down, my pride and joy. People, let me tell you about him. He's so much fun. Whether we're talking man to man or whether we're talking sun to sun.